start off the show just in a little bit now that YouTube will now be active and have all my bits on. My Lego Lord of the Rings video was blocked for content copyrighted stuff recently as well. That was fun.
Oh no!
Yeah, because the Lego game has all of the... well, the Lego game has the music in.
Oh,
and a Chinese company claimed it, and I was like, well, I'm not making any money off this, so I'm not going to fight it.
So...
I don't care. Yeah.
Yeah. Tribes.
Episode 102. Grab the image. Oh, there's so much to do. I wish I'd made a starting screen for this, because then we could have done this, but without having to worry about saying
we should
things.
be online now, Andy.
Yeah.
I'm on the Twitch. It says offline here.
It'll be on my Twitch channel, like Gruff said.
Oh right.
I can send you. Gruff, do you want to send?
Oh, of course, it's on yours, isn't it, Andy?
It's
on
on
the Decayed Andy channel.
Yeah.
Is that right? Okay.
Mm-hmm. You can, do you want to? If you want, Gruff can send you the link. Oh, you got me. Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
pee poo.
I can see myself.
I don't know what screen it is.
Famous.
There you go. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we're going to be starting off soon. I still need to get my links sorted, but YouTube usually takes a while to process. Oh, you want to add an image?
Hey, hello.
Yeah. Hello. There we go. Pop that in there.
I like the border you've got going on there, Andy. That's really cool.
Like I say, it was just very quickly kind of knocked up and thrown out there. Now, the video is going to go a bit weird, but don't worry about that.
Yeah, no probs.
Because that's me just tweeting out on my Discord. Boom. And back to that. All right, there we go. Okay, I think I've sent everything out.
Yay!
All right.
Cassis has joined. Orange
Hello.
Whitus has joined.
And you knocked who up?
D has joined.
There's a few people.
D has joined.
The joins.
I'm always happy to see both Jai and Big Swinging D.
Oh my god.
Oh, so we've started as we mean to go on, the tone.
Indeed. I mean, there are a few things in my life that I like more than Big D.
It's true. There we go.
Bearing in mind, like, amongst this group, I'm the gay one, you know? I was like...
Debatable.
Being outdone here. Completely.
I think me and Gruff could outgay you, George.
What? Excuse me?
Yeah, it's competition now.
It's
a lads' competition now. We've got a kiss, Gruff.
Dare you?
We've got a kiss. I'm sorry, Gruff. We've got to do it.
Wouldn't be the first one.
Abby's got to watch.
It won't be the last.
Yeah. let me play the intro video.
Yeah, now that we've got that out of the way.
There you go.
Hey!
Oh, we don't need it again. Let me know when you want to go, and I'll play the intro music, Mr. Gruff. Actually, no, you'll do the fancy little thing, won't you? So we'll all be...
Yeah. Shall we have a cold open?
Yeah, give the cold open. And I'll try and time the music correctly.
And I'll see if I can recognize where it's from, as per usual.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now, you should find this one very easy.
Oh, okay.
But I'm doing it with a slight twist. For example, who of you knows of Guns N' Roses' Garden of Eden?
No.
Yeah.
No? Okay. All over misty mountains cold to dungeons deep and caverns old. We must raid the break of day to take their enchanted gold. To adults, to go and find spells. With spell like ringing bells. And places deep where darkening sleep in hollow hills with the raid of fells. Where ancient king and overlord there are many a gleaming golden hoard. The sheep and the rotten light the caught. To hide in gems and hilt of sword. On silver necklace as strong as the fiery swords and crowns they hung and pricked of fire and twisted wire. They've mished the wound of friend and sire. Far over the misty mountains cold, deep and caverns old. We must away to the year of Rickaday to claim our long forgotten gold. Goblins they carved from themselves, and hard golden no man delves, and there they long of many song, and sung unheard by men or elves. The pines were roaring in the height, the wind was roaring in the night, the fire was red, it was flaring tight, the trees with torches blades did light, the bells were ringing in the dale, and the men looked up with paces fail. The dragon's ire, in more fierce than fire, laid low the tires and houses frail. This is harder than I thought. Yeah. The mountains spoke beneath the moon, the dwarves they heard the trump of doom. They fled the whole dying moon beneath the street, beneath the moon. Far over the misty mountains grim, to dungeons deep and caverns grim, we must away ere break of day, to win our harps and gold from him. I did it much better in practice. Well, roll the music.
Well done.
What is best in life?
Music roll?
Oh, yeah. You should be rolling. Yeah, it is, yeah.
I've got nothing to prove, guy. I don't need to complete it on the gay front. I am actually gay, you know, like sincerely, legitimately. These two are just fucking pretending.
All right, there we go. I think it worked. It was showing the spikes. I'm deaf now, Andy. Thank you. Yeah, so it was working.
Brilliant. Excellent.
Hey,
Hey.
spot on. So, just to really get onto this, the comparative spirit to one another, comparative spirit to one up each other would result in Andy and Gruff ploughing each other whilst T-posing over George just to get one of them and have them in midday of the alpha.
Damn right.
Like plowing each other like some kind of a Ouroboros of sex.
We're not enjoying it. We're
still
doing it
wouldn't
for
be
dominance.
Quite frankly, it still wouldn't be enough.
We could have that weird Ouroboros ring going up. That'd be quite impressive. I'm old. My phones don't pen anymore.
Getting some slight distortion from you, Adam, at the minute. It feels like it's speeding up and then slowing down again.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a
That's-
connection problem.
I'll just see if I can kick anything down to make the prop go away. Which I don't know if I can because I don't really have anything else running.
Oh my god.
Wow!
Hopefully, that'll work.
Hopefully.
All fingers crossed.
Oh.
All fingers crossed.
At the very end of the day,
hello.
at the end of the day, the audio track that you get will be fine. So when we slap it together for the audio version, we should be okay.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Be fine. What's the worst that could happen? Blood, guts, gore.
The usual.
You know. Sorry, in George's cases, sunshine, meadows, blazing heat, people laughing and smiling, and the beautiful eyes of a newborn baby rabbit as it looks up,
Don't know.
knife in hand, sword in the other. So, welcome to the FLuffenhammer. We've got things to do
Oh,
today.
yeah. Oh, my
Oh,
goodness.
my God.
Don't we?
So before we do that, there's something else I want to do first. And that is, we're the characters.
What is
At
best
the
in
end of the show,
life?
not the end. So at the end of the show, there will be something different. And first thing I need you both to do is I need to get you to roll me a race. Roll between 1 and 30.
1 and 30. On what kind of dice?
Sorry, 1 and 20 on a d20.
Oh, 1 and 20.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I've gotten an 11.
I got a 20.
11. Excellent.
I swear, if this works out like last time, I'm going to kill someone.
Am I going to be a halfling?
You get, sorry, George?
I got an 11.
Just 11.
I swear, Adam, if it's an Ewok or something, I am going to kill you.
George the Ewok.
Your race is Lich.
Oh, that's good.
Yes!
Wow.
Yes! Yes!
What I'm going to do
Wonderful.
actually is I'm going to ask you to roll another d20 again, George. 'Cause I want to see what species you were before you became a Lich.
Oh.
Okay. Oh, no. Oh, no. This is 8. Please, no.
Oh. The suspense.
Yeah, I know, right?
Here we go. Right.
I'm so happy to be a lich.
Yeah. 9.
It's going to be like
37.
a lich
8.
gnome or something, isn't it?
Oh, George, what did you just say? Why did you say that?
I know, right?
Because you are indeed a gnome.
Hey.
It's still a lich. It's still
Yeah, oh,
really
yeah.
powerful. It's just small.
Just
It's
very
fine.
wee.
Okay, Andy, what did you
Yeah.
get? Sorry, 20.
I got 20.
So, Andy, you are
What am I? Ah.
a necromancer. All right, okay.
Oh, okay. So Andy
Neat.
and I are getting on. you
Yeah, we're
know.
good. We're buddies.
Kind of simpatico, you know?
Right, roll again, because I want to see what race you are.
Is that on a d20 again?
On a d20, please, yeah.
All right. I roll a 14.
Actually, I'm coming round to the idea of a gnome lich.
He's very wee.
You are just human.
I'm just human.
Just human. Just a human necromancer.
So I just look like me then at the moment. That's cool. I'm
I
down
was
with
going to
that.
say, you just look like Decayed Andy, right?
Yeah. All good.
Okay, all right. So I want you to then roll a d6 4 times and just write down the numbers that you get.
Oh my god,
Okay.
4 times you say.
Yep, and just write
1,
them down in a
2,
list.
3, 4.
Okay.
Alright. Okay.
All right.
That is all we need to do for now. Think of some
Okay.
names, and we'll come back to them later. And
All
at the
right.
beginning of every episode, for the next few weeks, we're going to add to these characters.
Oh
Okay.
god, this is an ongoing thing?
Yeah,
Well,
right.
this is ongoing.
Oh lord.
You'll understand at the very end. You want to save these characters because they've got to stay there.
Okay, alright, okay, I see how it's going.
Actually, I'm into
Okay.
this now, and the more I think about it, the more I love my gnome lich. I actually want to go and get my D&D books and roll him up. You'd have to start as a necromancer, obviously, but we could get there over the course of a campaign.
I'm looking forward to seeing what happens here. I hope that you've both got decent names. All right, so shall we get rolling then?
Sure.
Oh,
go
you
for it.
yeah. I'm Adam. That's George.
Hey,
Over there's Andy.
Hello. I don't have a big screen because you don't need to see me. There's George.
I
no, that
can see
actually
you.
is Andy.
It's true. It's true. It's gruff.
I can see you. I can see you with one of my hidden monitors just off screen here. Hello, Andy.
Hello.
Yeah,
The
didn't we
pigeons.
establish, like in a previous episode, that you can always see Andy wherever he is?
It's true. He
There's
hunts me.
continuity.
Yeah. I task
There's just
him.
constant pigeons following him.
The rats
Oh,
of the
God.
sky. Gruff does like Skaven, so it does make sense that he'd use sky rats.
I suppose.
The thing is, when they're not following you, they're always just plotting revolution. If you listen
Ah.
carefully, you'll hear them saying "coo, coo."
As long as they're not saying
Oh,
coom, that's
my
the main
God.
thing. I don't need none of that.
That's a proper dad joke. That is a
Getting
proper,
good at those.
proper dad joke. That is. Wow.
So we're going to be talking about the Nova Opens and some other bits and pieces.
Oh, it's
and
all
of course,
very
as we always do,
exciting, right?
oh yeah, we're going to be spinning off into all sorts of conversation as we go along. But first, before we do that, over the last 2 weeks, George, what have you been up to? Tell me about the things that you've been. I'm going to guess it's pretty much the same as mine, which is sweet fuck all.
Actually, yeah, hobby-wise, since the last time we did this, it's the last time we did an episode, not very much, really. Reading a couple of books. I recently finished the Alfarius book, which I told you about last time. That was very good. It was a little bit truncated. I kind of expected a little bit more from it, given what it had set up. But it was good. It was really, really interesting. And as we discussed last time, changes a lot within the lore itself, you know? So worth checking out that one, the Alfarius Primarch book.
Who's it done by?
Oh, that's a great question. It's what's his name? Is it Ben Brooks, the guy who wrote the Huron book?
Is it
Yep,
Mike
yep.
Brooks? Maybe?
Mike Brooks,
Mike
is
Brooks.
it? I can't remember. Mike Brooks. I can't quite remember off the top of my head, but it's
Why
very
does
good.
Mike Brooks sound like a radio DJ from the mid-90s? Drive time with Mike Brooks.
Actually does, doesn't it? Yeah, it has that ring about it. But no, it's good. It's well worth a look. Beyond that, not very much. There you go. Hey, God, you're on the ball with this one.
I'm trying. I'm going as fast as I can.
And there he is himself. There's Alfarius.
There's
or
the boy.
is it? Could be anyone, really, couldn't it?
Could be this guy. Well, this guy too.
Be anyone. But no, it's very good.
Keith
It's
Chegwin.
well worth a look. In fact, like all the Primarch books that I've read have been fantastic. You know, granted, I've only read the Chaos ones. Because, you know.
Are you saying that the Lehman Russ book might not be as good as you?
I'm not saying anything. I make no aspersions in that regard. What I am saying is the Magnus book is clearly always going to be better.
Who's that one done by? Was that done by Graham McNeil or someone else?
I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head who that was by, but it was very good. In fact, that may have been my favourite one. But then again, bias. You know, I do love the Thousand
Oh,
Suns.
yeah,
I love
yeah.
Magnus the Red. So, But all of them have been good thus far. The only one I haven't read is Lorgar, and the reason I haven't read Lorgar is this is going to sound terrible, but it's because Gav Thorpe wrote it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, Gav.
Yeah. Nothing against Gav, I just don't really rate him as a writer. He's just not my style,
No.
There is absolutely nothing wrong with his writing style, but there are certain people you're going to come across that you just don't gel with.
No, it isn't for me. It isn't for me. I've read a couple of Gav's books from the Black Library, like the Eldar sequence that he did, where I think he did a trilogy, didn't he, of Eldar books.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think, for me, and this is a personal thing. It's how you sort of preconceive the armies from what you've read of the fluff and your own imagination. I just don't think he captured the alienness of them, or for me they're far too human in the way they operate and the way and also very, very elf-like, very sort of Tolkien elf-like, which I didn't really like very much.
Yeah. That is very understandable. That's not my bag, man.
Yeah. Oh, it's a good book, but hard to read. You spend a lot of time in the head of Corfeiron. Oh, I'm kind of okay with that. I like Corfeiron. I think he's a really interesting guy. Same with Erebus, of course. I mean, there is a really good... I can't for the life of me remember who wrote it, but there is a very short novella out there about the life of Erebus before he became a space marine. I think it's called The Child of Chaos or something like that, or Son of Chaos. And that is fascinating. That is absolutely fascinating. I mean, getting an inside look at the ultimate Warhammer 40,000 bastard, one of the most malevolent, hateful characters in 40k, and that's going some, isn't it? Fascinating.
Is there a point where there's a book where Erebus just gets an entire weasel rammed down his throat?
Oh my god!
Left to choke?
No, sadly not. In fact, he's also very very lucky. A lot of his life is fated. Of course, the Chaos Gods are watching him pretty much from the beginning. So he's abnormally lucky in his life, abnormally so.
Just want to see his eyes pop. That's all. Just want to see his eyes pop right out.
Anytime soon, because he's still around.
Mm-hmm.
Some 10,000 years
dead.
later, he's still, and he's doing quite well by all accounts. He's on the Dark Council of Sicarius. He coordinates much of the Word Bearers. He's doing fine.
Did you just say he was Cato Sicarius?
Oh, no, not the Ultramarines. Get out of here.
No.
That'd be amazing. Cato Sicarius is in fact Erebus.
Oh, Sicarius. It's one of those weird things where there was some cross-pollination, or someone didn't really know that Sicarius is the name of the Word Bearer's planet, a demon world in the Eye of Terror.
Wouldn't it be funny if he was the one leading that destruction, and that's why he called himself that? Just to
Wouldn't
rub
that be
it
hilarious?
in.
He's sort of like some sort of sleeper agent or something.
Yeah, I am Alfarius. Get out of here.
Especially given that he's an Ultramarine and therefore should hate the Word Bearers, worse than anyone.
Mm.
I'm going to start a rumor here that Cato Sicarius is in fact Erebus, and he's been hiding in the Ultramarines all this time. Who else is going to have all of the success that Cato Sicarius does?
It's a good point.
But
It's a good point.
Yeah.
It was Erebus all along.
Well, no, I mean, people
The
who are
real Erebus were the friends we made along the way.
But those who are hoping for Erebus to get his comeuppance, I don't see it happening. To be perfectly honest, he's happy as Larry. He's gotten everything he wanted from the heresy and from the last 10,000 years. Everything he ever wanted. So,
I want the last page of the last book of the Horus Heresy to be Erebus just taking a piss on the Emperor's corpse. Just zip. Much better. What about yourself, Andy? What have you been up to?
What have I been doing? Not a huge amount, just the usual work and all that jazz. The only thing I've really been doing is when I've been going out and about, I've been listening to, what's it called? The Crimson King. That's the book. That's the sausage maker.
Oh, that's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah.
As well?
I've been enjoying it. It's not been the most amazing book ever, but it is interesting to see them keep going. with the Thousand Suns storyline, and they are hinting at the rubric coming up closer and closer with everyone's going to turn to dust, and no one's like, that's a bit weird. Let's just keep plowing along. They've got a demon trapped in a weird like robot body guy, and that's quite fun. The demon's like, you don't know everything, and Ahriman's like, yeah, I do. He's like, okay,
Yeah.
well, good luck with that. But yeah, they are I left off where the what they call the Space Wolves have captured one of the Thousand Suns, and he said while being tortured, I let you capture me because I want you to help me kill Magnus because he's going to do something crazy bad. And they're like, and that's kind of where I stopped, because that's where my journey ended for the day. So I was like, oh well, okay, it's pretty interesting. I'm like, we know where Magnus goes. He turns into a big Flappy Bird, and depending on who's making the model, one with a massive dong. Well, never mind.
Yeah, that is something that people have done, isn't
Don't
it?
worry, I'm not going to put that on screen, but yeah, you can find
I
that. It is a demon dong, though. But yeah. Apart from that, I've been painting up some Necrons. I would show them today, but they're not finished, so I can't really show them. But that's really been about it. Hobby-wise, Warhammer, wise, that's it. Nothing too much, really. What about Gruff?
Myself,
Yeah, what have you been up
I've
to?
been working through this.
What is it? For people who aren't
That
in the
is
video.
the Book of the Outlands.
Oh, very cool.
So I have been going through and learning all about the history of squats on Necromunda.
Oh,
And now I
fabulous.
know all about the history of squats on Necromunda. And the squats on Necromunda. Nice. Oh, they are so cool. Oh, just the different clans. So it's not often I come across a word I've never come across before.
Mhm.
And I came across the word larkers. Right? And you may think, but Gruff, you used to drink. And I went, yes, I did. But not anymore. And then I said, no. Because this is the name of their caravans. And it's a German word, and it's a word I've never come across before.
Uh-huh.
It's Laager.
Yeah, no, never come across that one.
I thought you said
Never come across the word.
larpers.
Yeah, definitely come across a couple of them.
Yeah.
Yes, it's
Yeah, we get them in the woods near us, certainly around this time of year. We get a lot of Vampire the Masquerade larpers.
You have to go
Well,
and
in that
swat them
case,
away
you-
with like newspapers and stuff.
it's now time for you to invest in a paint gun then, George. And, I've had it. Because I've got nothing against LARPers. I've got some really happy memories from the days when we used to LARP. But Vampire the Masquerade LARPers, they're a special kind of people that really annoy me.
Are they a different night breed?
I suppose all I really need to do is invest in a UV light, right? And go
Yeah,
into the
yeah.
woods and just shine it around. That would get rid of them, wouldn't it?
You can get them fairly easily
Or-
as well in little torch forms if you want to burn your resin up. So yeah, easy enough.
Some sort of, I don't know, does holy paraphernalia work against the vampire, the masquerade vampires?
I don't know. I don't know much about Vampire the Masquerade. I just remember I tried to play it once when it originally came out and was like, this is poo. I'll never touch this again. This isn't Soul Reaver. I don't want it.
Yeah.
There's something about White Wolf publishing, and it just rubs me up the wrong way. I can't ever put my finger on it, but if it's Vampire the Masquerade or Werewolf the Apocalypse or, I don't know, Krabans the Dancing, it just drives me insane
Hey,
with
Pink
just how
Lithium, don't worry, I like it as well, so it's fine.
it's. I'm not attacking anyone unless you're a Vampire the Masquerade fan. Then I'm going to come out of you after the chainsaw. But there's something about the way that White Wolf writes that really drives me up the wall. It's so painfully earnest.
Mhm.
There isn't a lot of humor to be
I
found.
was going to say,
There
it's
isn't a
that
lot
lack of irony thing that you
Mm,
project to,
yeah.
the earnestness of it, yeah?
It's like being bludgeoned by Anne Rice. It just
No, I do quite like it. I'm quite a fan. I like the... No, I'm talking to Pink Lithium here, because I'm just assuring them that it's fine,
just as long as you don't go around LARPing in a Vampire the Masquerade game
Mhm.
in a pair of pantaloons, we'll be all right.
Is
Okay,
it
yeah, I'm
just the
not dazzling.
pantaloons? Is it just the
Is it
fact that they have pantaloons?
Is it the
mean,
pantaloons thing? Because, like,
The pantaloons are going to be the thing that puts me over the edge, and I just tear out your throat with my teeth. Just one of those things, But, yeah, everyone can enjoy everything, and I'm not going to really judge you, but I will judge from afar, quietly, like this. But apart from that, I've also been working my way through these two massive tomes.
Look at him
That sounds
showing them
really
off.
heavy.
Look at him showing them off.
Oh, yes! Hey!
Look at him.
Fabulous. God, they're such good books, aren't they? They're so much fun.
How did they smell when you got them? Did they smell good?
Beautiful.
Yeah?
Fucking beautiful. Got the shrink wrap off it, and I just inhaled it.
Yeah.
I just love how, like, just completely batshit the structure of those books is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I sincerely, reading them, I don't know how anyone ever played a game with them. Ever.
No. I think the trick is to know exactly what page you need to go to at any given point for the game that you're playing. If you're in a 40k, game, you've got an entire sequence towards the end. If you're a fancy role player, then you've got the sequence at the beginning and also the middle and also a little bit at the end. And if you're playing fancy battle, then the first half of the book, but also not, because some of it's for fancy role.
Some of it's all over the place. There's tables that you need to refer to that are in little tiny bits of the book that don't occur anywhere else, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. I mean, but I love it. There's something very raw and very like the people who wrote those books didn't really expect to make that much money off of them, right? It was just a case of like, we want to get this out. It's fun. We just want to have a blast with it. And that's what they did. Like, it's like they just vomited up every inspiration they had onto the page.
Mm.
I mean, these are the books where the Bloodthirster, right, the Greater Demon of Khorne, has another Bloodthirster in its Axe of Khorne that can actually emerge from the Axe of Khorne and act as another Bloodthirster on the tabletop.
It's fine.
And
it's balanced.
Depending on how you read some of it, the whip is also a collection of demons holding a whip together.
Yeah, it's bonkers. It is absolute. Also, have you read the rules for the Axe of Khorne that the Bloodthirster carries?
Mm-hmm.
It can throw it. It can throw it, and because it's possessed, it can act as a model. It can fly around hacking at people.
It's got its own movement.
It's bonkers. It is grade A bonkers and wonderful at the same time.
I love the idea of somebody playing an Empire army in like 3rd ed, which is right about these books came out. Right? 3rd ed Warhammer Fantasy Battle, and you're there, and you've got your cannons, and you've got your steam tank. Actually, no steam tank. Steam tanks weren't out yet. So you've got your cannons, you've got your mobile fortress thing with all the crossbowmen and halberds on the top. You've got your horsemen, you've got your archers. Then all of a sudden, this big red dude turns up, throws his axe at you, and his axe starts just merrily chasing people down.
Yeah.
You've got to wonder, why did I pick people?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially given that in this game system, one Bloodthirster was the equivalent of an army.
Yeah.
Bloodthirsters at this point were ridiculous, right?
But it's why the point system doesn't work.
No,
Then,
it
in
doesn't.
3rd ed.
It really doesn't.
Anything that's like mortal based, like the humans, Bretonians, orcs, and goblins as well, you need to have so much on the battlefield to be able to take on any of the chaos things, because the chaos armies just keep winning because they just swarm. You've got these. A Bloodthirster, you're absolutely right. A Bloodthirster is an army killer by itself in 3rd ed, but then you start putting in all the other demons. You know, it's like the Bloodletters by themselves are monstrous.
Yeah.
Then of course you get the Chaos Knights.
Yeah, which were, I mean, people don't see. It's very difficult to explain to people now in the age of AOS, because there's loads of cavalry units that are way better than Chaos Knights now. Back then, Chaos Knights were the shit, right?
Oh yeah.
You couldn't hurt them. Most of the time, because of their chaos armor, their barding, because of their shields, they had a 1+ save. And because of its chaos armor, it could only be modified up to a very particular point, and then that was it. They could literally take cannon blasts, these guys.
Not to sound bitter about a game that I had 30 years ago, But a unit of 6 Chaos Knights can shrug off and massacre a unit of 20 Boar Boys
Yeah.
whilst being peppered with arrows, whilst being charged by the Boar Boys. No. No. I say 20 years ago. I realise now that it's closer to 30 years ago. I'm going to shut the fuck up.
I didn't say anything. I said nothing.
There they are. There they are in all their barded glory.
Look at them. Sexy fuckers. But I mean, they were nasty.
And they
stuff that they managed to do.
They were
Insane.
for like so many editions, weren't they? They were the ultimate cavalry in Warhammer Fantasy Battle. It wasn't
Up until about fifth or sixth, yeah.
Yeah, it really wasn't until you started to get the really weird stuff, like characters riding like mini dragons and stuff, that there came cavalry that could stand up against them. It was madness.
It wasn't until the Dark Elder Cold One Rider, Dark Elf Cold One Riders got that massive boost. I'm going to say in sixth that the Chaos Knights started getting down the list a bit, because you got to remember you also had a couple of really poor Chaos. I was going to say Battle Tomes, Warhammer Armies books.
There were some bad ones towards the end. There really were.
Especially like sixth and seventh, they were piss poor.
They were really bad, weren't they? And it's such a shame.
Yeah, I mean, on the plus side, they did do things like introduce all the tribes, which was really cool. I love the tribes of the north. But on the other hand, what the hell are you doing? And it was literally just bringing Chaos down too far. They wanted to try and make a level playing field. You shouldn't have a level playing field with Chaos, because Chaos should keep winning.
I mean, they need to be the end game thing. Yeah.
Exactly. The worst Chaos book from that era was the very last Demons book they did for Warhammer Fantasy Battle.
Which edition was that?
It was 9th edition. It was garbage. I don't know whether they knew that it was ending and they just didn't care, But that book was awful on like every level. It was so badly put together. It was almost a non-functional army at that point.
Well, it wasn't until the End Times books came out that army got anything usable.
Right. It's absolutely true. Again, ironically, when they started mixing them with Chaos Knights again, which they should never have separated them. They should never have separated them. It's okay, obviously it's great for demons to have their own army. That's grand, because you should always be able to do that. But they should never have made it so that they are completely separate and you can't mix and match them.
No. You should just have different lists in your book to do different things. You shouldn't have two separate things.
That's exactly that.
Ridiculous.
I mean, they've realised now, clearly, because everything's integrated into their own books now, so it's fine,
All you need is the Chaos hashtag, and you're fine and golden.
Oh, fine and dandy.
Well, you are if you're Slaanesh. You're very fine and dandy.
Apparently so. They're doing all right, aren't they?
Which Slaanesh? The 40k ones or the AOS ones?
No, the AOS ones are doing okay. The Hedonites are doing quite well since they had that upgrade in White Dwarf. They haven't had their third ed book out yet, but apparently they're doing okay.
Yeah, they're really kicking up the channels there. It's quite surprising and also really good to see.
Nice to see.
Until the Caradron get their new book, of course, and then that's not happened. But
I can't wait for them to get their new book. I mean, the Hedonites books have been my favourite in AOS thus far. They're just everything I want from Slaanesh is in that army.
Yeah.
Everything I want.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. So I've actually got to pull something back that we did last week. We went on a bit of a tirade at the end of last week's episode. The last episode, I should say.
We don't do that.
No, we don't do that. Well, normally at the beginning,
made a point
on air, isn't it?
And it was all about how AOS seems to have absolutely stagnated. Someone made a very good point that in Warcry, the world has expanded out a lot. You get everything that they're doing in the Realm of Beasts in Warcry, which is a very fair point. And so I just want to point out that, yes, that is the case. Absolutely, that is the case. Warcry has done quite a lot of world building. And the army books themselves have done quite a lot of world building. what I was trying to get at was it feels like there's no momentum behind AOS at the moment, rather than it being a closed-off world. And maybe I didn't get that across. I'm not entirely sure, but I just wanted to pull that back a little bit. I'm not pissing on AOS. I'm just pissing on the fact that it feels that there's no real push for it.
God, no! I mean, to be absolutely 100% clear, we love AOS.
We
absolutely
still my preferred system.
love AOS. We really, really enjoy it. It's just that we would like to see a bit more support for it from Games Workshop. That's all. We fear it going the way of Fantasy Battle, I think.
Yeah, very much so. I don't think that'll happen anytime soon, but in the long term, that is my fear. It just feels like, for example, the community site. The community site does a load of Warcraft stuff, and it does a load of 40k and Kill Team and tons of stuff. But the same amount of care for an AOS article doesn't seem to be happening. And I think that's the very basis of what I was trying to say.
I can't remember the last time they had a big news story. I think last time we talked about it, the last thing was the dragons, really, wasn't it?
I think it was the last really, really big thing that we... I think it probably was. And it wasn't that big a thing, was it?
Not really,
that's
no.
The sadness of it.
No, those dragons just died off. They're gone, which was a massive shame.
Again, I think it was a real misstep restricting them to the Stormcast. I think it was a real misstep. The dragons coming back should have been significant for the entire world, the entire Mortal Realms, right? Not just for the Stormcast.
Also, the orcs needed to be more orky.
Got the Cruel Boys, though.
One-eyed and, Cruel Boys, they need to be taller, one-eyed, and have tails.
I think they should have just made the Cruel Boys goblins. Just because that's how they kind of feel.
I think the Cruel Boys would have worked better and had a better response if they'd just all been hobgoblins.
That could be a thing.
Hobgoblin army. Oh, sorry, Hobgrot, as they're called now. If it had been just nothing but Hobgrot, I think that would have worked a ton better. Because then you put like the lead into to the rise of Hashut.
Maybe
any day. Come on, yeah.
Chaos Dwarves for one day. Chaos Dwarves will happen once Total War Warhammer gets it.
They will turn up. I've no doubt. I mean, they've been like suggesting them for God knows how long now, haven't they? And they
were in the first book. They were in the first fucking book.
They're in the background, and you get little suggestions of Chaos Dwarfs. Lots of them in Warcry, obviously. In different war bands, the Iron Golums, the Pit Fighters from the Chaos Tribes. They've got a Chaos Dwarf. Just little suggestions. They will. I don't know what they'll be like.
Literally say they trade with the other races for the Chaos Dwarves.
And of course, I mean, you've got those humans that worship Hashut as well now.
That was weird.
That was very
real
strange,
weird,
right? And
I still don't know how I feel about that.
The suggestion in the background there is that either Be'lakor always was Hashut, or that Be'lakor has taken on the mantle of Hashut.
I would be very with the idea of Be'lakor just going, "Here, motherfuckers, it was me all along."
It was me all along, yeah. He's certainly old enough, isn't he? I mean, he is like the first demon prince, right? He's been around for millennia, literally millennia. He's one of the oldest creatures. He's older than Nagash, this guy.
Wow.
He is one of the oldest entities in the entire Mortal Realms, right?
I wonder if it is something that they are planning, if they are leaving its release for, or like any news on Chaos Dwarves for when Total War Warhammer does and do like a combined kind of release.
Possible. It's entirely possible.
I think Chaos Dwarves are going to wait till the complete redo of the Cities of Sigmar happens.
Okay. When's that meant to happen?
What I understand.
Is that off in the future? Year. Oh, next year. Okay.
Yeah, early next year. It's a complete refresh from the ground up.
Right.
So that would actually explain why things have been so quiet, because you've got an entire army getting done.
Yeah, maybe
from the ground up.
Maybe that's it. Maybe we're going to get an explosion of AOS reasonably soon, right?
I mean, that would make sense if you think about it. 40k has sorry, 40k has just been absolutely hammered this year. The leagues have just been everywhere
Yeah.
for the last 6 months now, 8 months.
Well, I mean, there's so much stuff coming that people are genuinely excited for that they've been asking for years, right? I mean, there's the leagues, obviously. There's the World Eaters, the new Berserkers, which people are going to go absolutely ape for and have, you know. Yeah, so they're going to have to ride that wave a little bit, aren't they?
Rumor of a Harud kill team.
Really?
Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That could be very interesting. I mean, if the Votan do well, and they clearly are going to do well. I mean, the excitement for these guys is off the charts, isn't it? Have you seen what's going on out there in the hinterlands of the internet? I mean, you know, the 40k forums can be quite unpleasant places at times. They can be very negative spaces, but whenever you go into one of the Votan threads, people are going berserk. They just love everything about these guys.
Yeah. What's really cool is you've got a lot of people who are talking about how they like the lore, but they don't like the models.
Oh,
and so they
really?
work out how to make the models, or people who like the models but don't like the lore, and how to make their own lore. There isn't a huge amount of the brick wall that you sometimes see. But people just going, nope, not having that. It's how can I make this work to a way that I want it to work?
Yeah,
That's perfect. That's what we want. That's yes. I mean, there's a question that popped up earlier today that I'm going to be reading out on the Patreon show next week. If you would like to come and join me on Patreon, there's a monthly show come out called the Fluffin Nation, where usually I grab somebody, tie them down, and we have conversations. This week, because of technical issues, I'm just going to be answering questions. Come and join me, if you will. Only $5 a month. I need money to breathe and eat.
And of course, we're in the UK, so to stay warm very soon as well.
That's fine. I'm just going to start burning people.
That's fine too. I start.
So yeah, on my list I've got CEOs as the first burning. Right.
Yeah.
So moving on, because otherwise I will sit here and talk about murder for quite some time. Shall we talk about Nova? The Nova opens. The Nova Open reveals, as I like to call them, the neural movements.
What?
Nova opens.
What about now?
I was trying to combine all three words, and they're not words that go together well, so I've just come up with Nova opens. Novo reveals.
There was a lot going on, wasn't there, this time?
The Nope reveals. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely tons. Absolutely tons. So let's get started with. I mean, yes and no. A lot of stuff kind of hit, but there wasn't a huge amount that was unexpected, if that makes sense.
Yeah, there weren't many surprises as such.
No.
But the stuff that was there was exciting, right?
Oh, very much so. Very much so. Shall we start off with the leagues then?
Oh God, why not? Let's start on a high, yeah? I mean, jeez, these guys. That Grimnir model. I have never in my life been interested in like a dwarf-based army. They're just not my aesthetic, for these games. I'm a Chaos boy. That Grimnir, I will paint the shit out of that. I will have one of them on my shelf any day. He is an absolute corker, isn't he?
He's a chunky boy.
He's
yeah,
gorgeous. Yeah.
I can't get over it. I mean, these guys look amazing.
I love the fact that you look at the Grimnir and what you have is very high-tech clothes underneath very low-tech robes.
Yeah.
And there's something about that. I mean, you look at the shoes, you look at the gloves and stuff, and there's so much going on there, and it tells the story, and that's what I want from miniatures. I want them to tell the story.
He's very much like a little diorama, isn't he,
Oh, yes, he is. And his little doggies that go with him. Oh,
they're fab, aren't they? They're just fab. Apparently, I mean, according to the blurb, they're elevated by his psychic powers, aren't they? They're sort of like attuned to him in some bizarre way.
I mean, the idea of the clone skins actually having ones that have been built to be psychers.
Yeah, brilliant, right? Absolutely. Apparently they're
Ooh.
rare. These guys are
Mhm.
really, really rare. That's very cool. I mean, this guy would fit in AOS easily, wouldn't he? You could
Oh
put
yeah,
him
yeah.
in a Caradron army or any Duardin army really.
I kind of wish they'd lent a bit
Absolutely.
more into that, because I like the Grimnir model. I like the aesthetic. I just wish that there was more of that and less of the Space Marines from StarCraft kind of look for myself.
Oh, throughout the army.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
at a wider scale, yeah.
yeah. I'd prefer a bit more of that. Again, they're not bad. It's just maybe with the dwarven runes or the slightly Nordic runes, they dip close-ish to Space Wolves-ish, but they're not
Yeah.
assholes. So I suppose that's a bonus. You know,
Yeah, that's a bonus, right?
it's a bonus.
Yeah, they do. They do seem to have like a certain crossover, don't they, with the Space Wolf aesthetics? I can't imagine they're going to get on very well with the Space Wolf. So
Maybe not. Maybe not.
nobody does, right?
No.
Nobody does. But wow, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm kind of.
Should we
bowled
move
over.
on to my favorite model?
Go on then. What is it,
Because I
Adam?
really right. The Grimnir it's beautiful, right?
Mhm.
I'm not going to argue with that. I find the Iron Master to be amazing.
Yeah.
I will come back to him in a second. I think the Enri here, Ein here, I think it's pronounced, and the Ein here
Good
champion
boy.
is like, if you look at the rules for the Ein here that leaked, fucking hell.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like Jesus Christ. Oh dear.
I mean, that's like a fucking Catan killer. That's insane.
He's quite beefy, isn't he?
Uthar the Destined, which we're going to get to because there's some interesting stuff here. The freaking land fortress is absolutely gorgeous. But there is something I find absolutely beautiful about a Chthonian Berserk mole grenade launcher.
Oh my god. They just went all out with that, didn't they? I mean, the name is fantastic.
Well, there's a couple of ways we can break down the name. Is it a launcher of Chthonic Berserk moles?
That's what I would hope.
Yeah, same.
Is it a Chthonian Berserk that fires a mole grenade, which is an angry mole that explodes? Is it a Chthonian who fires a Berserk mole grenade? Is it a Chthonian Berserk mole who has a grenade launcher?
Yeah.
There's so many questions.
I think it's the boring answer. It's not going to be the fun one. Avid shoots a live mole that explodes at people.
Of course.
Because I prefer
army,
that. If
modeling.
this was an orc army, that's what I would be.
Yeah, that's
Telling
true.
you now, my army, my modeling.
If you can make a mole that's made into a bomb, I would like to see it, because it would be neat, be fun.
But it's a
I have
beautiful.
already sourced mole miniatures.
Of course you have.
Mole parts.
But it's a beauty of a miniature, isn't it? Really, really lovely. The detail on it. The more you look at it, the more you notice the little narrative details.
Is it me, or does
Very
the
much so.
dude with the grenade launcher look like one of the bad guys from Judge Dredd? You know, the Sylvester Stallone
He
one?
looks
He looks
a little
like Mean
bit
Machine Angel,
Mean
yeah.
Machine,
Yeah, that's him. That's the
yeah.
name. Yeah.
He does a little bit.
So I'm going to get into something here because I'm fascinated by this.
Mm.
The Ironkin,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we know a little bit about the Ironkin, that they are seen as being brothers in arms. They're not seen as being robots there to be servitude.
Like to be, yeah. They're not
Yeah.
second-class citizens.
No,
effectively.
they're right there. Does this mean it's possible to run an entire Ironkin army?
Oh, that would be fascinating.
Are there
wouldn't it?
enough model varieties to let you do that?
Well, if you look at the way the Ironkin armor fits together, or how it looks like it fits together anyhow, and then how the various parts work, I don't think it would be that difficult to make it.
Okay.
I think you'd lose out on a few things, like obviously the Grimnir,
Mhm.
and that name, Grimnir,
Yeah,
makes
it's
me so
good.
happy.
That's good.
But all in all, I think you could do it. I think you could run an entire Ironkin army. I won't probably know until we get the book.
Mhm.
that on the battlefield, what would that look like?
I mean, I wonder if statistically they are any different from the Votan themselves, or are they just included in the same units and function in the same way for the most part? Because if that's the case, then yeah, you could run them really easily, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I can't wait for this book. Problem is,
No, I mean it's actually exciting, isn't it? I mean, it really is. As I say, they would never really be my army, but I'm really excited for these guys.
Are you going to get the early bird special box set, Gruff?
no.
No.
The main reason for that is price. This
Yeah.
is an army I'm going to have to do in piecemeal. I'm going to have to do a unit, maybe 2 units a month. I cannot afford to drop down that
I mean, how
level
much
of
is
money.
the big kit?
Going from, they haven't given a price yet, but going from the last few years, it would be between 180 to 200.
That would be my guess as well.
I guess it does have like a decent amount of models and the codex in as well,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
It
So
does,
it's like,
and
yeah.
it has some of the bigger models as well. Those big bike units that you've got.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's not worth the price. Absolutely, for what you get, it is absolutely worth the price, and to get it early, yeah, cool. But I'm going to have to wait till next year, I think.
Yeah.
Because there's just no way in hell I can drop that kind of money down.
Maybe people
It's
will
a
regret buy this and then sell it for cheaper, and you can get it cheap.
That would be lovely. That'd be absolutely lovely.
Or maybe someone in the audience can buy one for Gruff and send it to him as a birthday present.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
There you go.
Yes, if anybody would like to send me a large box of tiny hairy men for free,
GW,
I
Gruff
will-
could be a review copy guy for you. There you go.
I would not only call you my friend, I would give you a hat.
Oh my god. Those aren't cheap.
I would give you my. In fact, no, I'd be really, really weird, and I'd swap you that box for my old convention hat.
Oh, that's a good hat too. Leather.
That hat's seen some stuff. Like, I'd sign it
Oh,
with
horrible things.
sign it. I'm famous.
I take it you guys have already seen the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles van paint up of the
have.
hackathon.
Yeah, it looks neat.
It looks good, right? Looks good. I can imagine a lot of people are probably going to be doing that.
Yeah, I mean that. I've got my idea for the theme already built, and that's Dr. Robotnik.
I think that's a brilliant idea. These guys have already got a kind of like Robotnik-esque outline, haven't they? Like generally,
Yeah.
so yeah, I think that's a brilliant idea. Are you going to
Yellow
model really,
backpacks.
really big mustaches on them all?
I can neither confirm nor deny the sculpting I've already done to try and get a bit of Robotnik mustache.
Can you 3D print some crabs out and then make them look robotic?
I was going to say, yeah, you're going to have to get some like robotic animals going
Yeah.
on, some badniks, yeah?
Oh. Well, first of all, I have to wait for my new VAT to appear for my printer. Just have to try to get my printer to work again. I managed to get it working, brilliant. Then the VAT leaked,
Oh,
and I can't test the screen until I've got a new VAT. So it might have to buy a new screen as well.
woof.
Fuck's sakes.
3D printing is cheaper than buying models from GW, unless your 3D printer dies.
Right? No,
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw this down here. 3D printing is a really good idea if you have the time and the ability to do nothing but fiddle with it. If you don't, it's a fucking nightmare.
So you're saying it's for Jai then? Our buddy Jai.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Jai, yeah, that sucker to
I
work.
mean-
He turned into a giant factory.
Well, I mean, I found He-Man toys you can 3D print.
Oh.
I'm not gonna lie. There have been points where I've actually had remorse over starting 3D print
Oh, really?
because it's been such a frustrating experience.
Ah,
I wouldn't say I've enjoyed it. I think every now and again something works and you get to it and it's really great. But I wouldn't say I've enjoyed the experience at all. I've got really angry at it at times.
How's your hobby time going? I hate it. I hate every second of it.
It's so stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Jerry says, I don't have time to tinker, I just want it to work. It doesn't. 3D printing doesn't just work. The sheer amount of work you have to do in order to do the setup before printing is insane. It's yeah.
It's a few years out from being really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to have an auto leveler of some description, so you don't have to fart around trying to get the levels right before you print. That's a big thing that needs to happen. Right, squats. Let's talk about.
Let's. I mean, this guy Uthar the Destined with his big craggy face. I'm assuming he's like the Marnius Calgar Abaddon equivalent in this army.
I think he's a demiurge.
He's the big character, isn't he? He's the big character model, right?
I'm going to place a bet here.
All right.
I'm going to bet that the demiurge are what happens when the clone schemes get really old.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they get all weird and cracky. Because if you look at Uthar, not only has he got the cracky rock head, he's also got the ridges that go up from the face to the ears. He is demiurge. And for those of you who don't know, demiurge were meant to be the second coming of the Scots back in 2001 with Battlefleet Gothic. A couple of pictures were released. Nothing ever came out of it other than a couple of ships in the Tau Force, I want to say.
I think you're right there. I think that was
one or two ships.
That was it, right?
That was it, yeah. Nothing ever came out of it as they were trying to think about what to do with the demiurge. I was also surprised that they went for the Leagues of Votan rather than trying to go back to the demiurge, which I'm not going to argue or be disappointed because I think the Leagues are fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Also, have you noticed that both Uthar and the these names, Enhir Champion, however you want to pronounce it, the rocks that they're standing on look like you could paint them up as cheese really easily.
I did. Yeah.
Like that, yes.
So good for Skaven bases.
Yeah, I never thought of that. Oh, God. Oh,
man.
man. To put a Vermin Lord on that would be fab, wouldn't it?
Painted bright green and glowing.
Yeah, warpstone cheese.
Yeah.
Warp cheese. Yay.
I'm more thinking about you just running an entire army of this, but they've all got Skaven heads. It's like...
that's a clone scheme that's gone really wrong, right?
I think Space
the
Skaven
Rattlings.
should have like armor that's way crappier. It should be like armor like Big Daddies from BioShock.
Yeah, it should be just crap, right?
Yeah.
Bolted together, barely functioning. Worse than orcs, yeah?
I always thought if you're going to do Skaven in 40k, one, they need to be called Scavengers, and they need to just be wearing armor from every other model range.
That's
Right.
yeah, I like that idea.
So you've got like these guys in like the I don't know, Space Marine legs, but they've got like a towel over shirt, and then one of their arms is like an orc, like a knob claw. There's just dragging behind it because he can't lift it.
Have they ever attempted that? Has there ever been like suggestion of like
No.
a Skaven-y 40k race?
Well, the Harud originally were Space Skaven.
Right.
Weird. What was it? I want to say they had warp technology.
Right.
But I think it was all plasma-based warp technology,
Interesting.
and that was that's kind of the thing that made them set them apart, where everything was plasma-based and it just punched into the warp. So it was firing, warp at you.
They burrowed through the warp, right? They burrowed through space. That was the whole thing, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Cool. That's a nice idea. I mean, for Space Skaven, that's kind of a neat idea, right?
I think one of the weapons was meant to be like this accelerator that would just fire pure warp at you.
Oh, God.
As they do. That's what they do in AOS, technically, isn't it? So, yeah, why not?
But then the Harud became weird jelly people. So
yeah, the Harad. I remember the artwork of them in the third ed army book, and they were big furry guys with claws.
Yeah,
and multiple eyes.
Well, the third ed 40k picture, it was a Harud Nocturne Guardian or a Harud Nocturne Warrior, and he was a little hunched guy with the hood over him, and then this weird plasma.
Rifle. And he had like a big rifle,
musket.
didn't he? Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Jeez. Because they had a little section that had like the other races, right? The ones that weren't really worth talking about. And you had like an Harad, and there was a Necron in there, bizarrely back then. There was a Necron in there.
There was a Necron, there was a Kroot, there was a Enslaver.
An Enslaver, yes.
And a Clawed Fiend.
The claw. That's the one I'm thinking of. The clawed fiend. That's right. It was massive. It looked like a bit like a yeti or something.
It looked like if Beast from X-Men decided to take a little jaunt on a Space Hulk.
It had like talons, didn't it? Like big scythe-like talons. I remember.
Yeah.
God, that.
I'm gonna have to find that picture actually.
God, I think I've still got that book somewhere. The third ed book.
What did you say it was called? Sorry.
It was third ed 40k, and it was the Xenos races.
It was the main manual, the manual for third ed 40k.
What was the species called? Sorry.
Oh, the Hrud. Hrud.
See if I can find it.
Yeah, best of luck. Best of luck.
I think I found like an artist interpretation of it. Probably not the exact version.
Not the.
Is this thing?
Let's have a look. Oh no!
That's the.
I don't think so. That's something else. I don't know what that is.
No, that is what they became. That's
Oh,
what
is
they
it?
are. Yeah, that's what they are currently, so to speak.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
That's very strange.
That picture comes from a Xenos biology book that Games Workshop put out about 2006.
Right. I remember that. God, that doesn't even look like something from 40k. It doesn't have the motif, does it?
There's that as well.
No, it doesn't.
Which is from the tome of the Liberus, apparently, the bestiary.
My goodness.
Ah, right, okay.
Which looks more like a slan than anything else,
It
oddly
looks
enough.
more like a slan, doesn't it? It does.
Yeah.
Yes.
Aha, right. I'll do this. I will send Andy this picture because that's the one we're looking at.
Oh, Lord. If I click off you, the video for you guys are going to go weird, so I won't do that.
Oh, okie dokes. No
Okay,
worries.
right. No worries. No worries.
Let's not do
That's
that,
fine.
otherwise you two are going to go all strange. All peculiar.
As stranger, yeah.
Yeah, aye, no worries. Cool. So, what else do we have in the squad? So we've got. Let's talk about the land fortress, because holy mother of.
It's really good. They actually they said there was going to be something big for the Votan, didn't they? When at Nova, and this is great. This is a brilliant piece of work.
I like how the turrets are little
looks-
faces in it.
It's cute, right?
Yeah.
It looks like a toy. It looks like sort of like the big toy from a 1980s range, doesn't it? I love it. I love it.
I look forward to someone turning this nerdly and taking the guns off and using those bits as like buboes and whatnot.
Oh yes. Maybe using it as like a Nurgle Land Raider or something.
Yeah.
Or one of those mortar tanks that they've got, those demon engines.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be wonderful.
You can have like the little side door popped off and have like Nurglings pouring out from the sides.
Oh, that'd be so much fun.
Yeah.
And it's
Go on,
actually
Gruff.
quite. Yeah, I mean, the first thing when we see a new miniature, any fan of Chaos is how can I Chaos it up, right? How can I put like buboes and spikes and faces on it?
I mean, everything for the leagues has been something I've really enjoyed. But holy crap, this tank just.
Has this done it for you now, Adam? Is this it?
It really. So there's a couple of things here which really seem to me, and it's. First of all, the ram turrets. Now, how much... Let's go back a bit. Let's go back to when the leagues first were announced and we first started seeing pictures of what they looked like. One of the things I said was they reminded me of 70s sci-fi.
Yes.
Right? Look at all the tech on this thing.
Yeah, it's like...
And tell me that...
This is inspired by so much science fiction art from that era. This has got like Mobius written all over it, right?
Oh god, yeah. Yeah, I mean, Mobius, once again, I'm reminded of Outland. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful, and it's... Oh, I'm going to have struggles.
I mean, the influences on these miniatures, like the aesthetic influences from science fiction artwork and comic books, there's a 2000 AD-ish quality to this too. It's incredible. You could actually sit and study these things and pick them apart in terms of like what has been influencing the sculptors, right? It's
I mean,
stunning. It's beautiful.
what they've managed to do is they've managed to tie in a load of new elements, but make everything familiar.
Yeah.
So you look at something like this, you can see parts of the AdMech, you can see parts of the Imperial Guard, but it's all like ancestors of what we see now. I mean, you look at the covering of the armor and tell me that that isn't the beginnings of what Cole was doing with the Primaris vehicles.
Yeah,
You see
yeah.
the
it's
gap.
really clever, isn't it? What they've done is they've acknowledged that all of this technology comes from the same root. Ultimately, it comes from the same root source, but somewhere in history, it's diverged massively.
Big time, big time.
And now is being manufactured and designed with regards to entirely different ideologies and assumptions. That's really clever. That's a phenomenal thing for any kind of science fiction universe to do, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. What blows my mind here is that everything tells the same story. Everything in the range tells, well, not everything. The Grimnir is doing its own thing, but everything tells the same story, and that is we have STCs. We are using technology that works.
Yeah, and also
it's
we
all
adapt
there.
it. Unlike the Imperium, that's got this ridiculous religious thing going on with its technology, where you can't actually alter an STC; it becomes blasphemy to do so. These guys are like, it's technology. If we can make it work better, we're going to make it work better, right?
There is. You may remember going back into the mists of time, a little anthology series. I don't talk about it much, called Deathwing.
No, you don't talk about that at all, Adam. I can't remember the last time we talked about that.
And inside Deathwing, there is a story of a warp entity inside a dreadnought-type body, and it's trying to steal the boy. And there's a Inquisitor, a bunch of Ogrins, and a squat named Grim, who turns up in the Inquisitor books later on. And there's a wonderful bit where the priests are oiling down the machine, and he just walks over and he smacks it with a spanner. And that is so much a thing that's in these miniatures. If it doesn't work, hit it with a spanner. It's utilitarian. Yeah, that's the right word.
Yeah.
Couldn't get the word out there.
That's it. You're absolutely right. It is. It's completely functional, isn't it? It's stuff that works. It lacks like the gaudy ornamentation of technology that, say, the Space Marines employ, but also the incredible conservatism of the technology that the Astra Military, the AdMech employs.
Yeah, I mean,
it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
Look at the bloody big gun on the top and tell me that doesn't look out of place. That wouldn't look out of place in an AdMech vehicle.
Right.
So smart, and then you've got these like bolter-type guns that look like they could be in a Space Marine army, just if they were stripped down and made less intricate. Then you've got the big thing at the back, which looks like it could be in any Imperial thing. It's absolutely incredible what they've managed to achieve with this. And I mean, I'm not a fan of the hover bikes as such. I think there's a bit of work I need to do with the hover bikes to make them work for me. I think they're a little bit too pushed forward, if that makes sense. But this thing is gorgeous. And I am in love with the fact that if you go down, not only do you have a little collection of missiles inside a hood which can be fired, not only do you have the railgun, but you have...
Oh, that railgun is going to be a bitch, isn't it? You just know that thing is going to cause mortal wounds, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know it is. You know it is. It's going to be like strength 40, and there's going to be a rule where it's like for every hit, it does die 3 mortal wounds or something like that. You just know it.
I love the fact that inside the cockpit is a Liga and his mate, and they are having the time of their lives.
That's grand, isn't it? It's absolutely brilliant.
Oh, fuck me, I love it.
I wish I could say anything about them, but for me personally, these guys feel like the more bland version of the humans. They feel more like a generic space race, that you see in the fantasy. Yeah, and there's a lot of the human Terran aesthetic in there, which for me, whenever I play like a sci-fi game that's army based, I always see humans as the default and never go
Yeah.
towards them. And for
I
me,
mean,
because there's none of the aggressive religious iconography, they feel like more bland than the Space Marines.
In a way, I agree, because I don't go for the human armies either. I go for, obviously I go for things with mutations and spikes and whatnot, or really, really, really alien. But I've got to say, there's something about these guys that does do it for me, and I'm really surprised at my own reaction, to be honest. I'm really shocked, because they are, up until this point, they wouldn't have been my army at all. But these guys, there is something. I don't know what it is. It's an X factor for me. I don't know what it is, but I think it might be that Mobius influence. Like what Adam was talking about earlier, that sort of 1970s science fiction thing. I just love it. I love it to bits.
Well, I mean, me and like outdated sci-fi is as we all know, I have a fucking love for sci-fi. In the same way that I've got a massive love for like 30 sci-fi.
Yeah, aesthetically, I'm kind of the same. I like that stuff too. The old like adventure comics and whatnot, the old science fiction comics. Love that stuff. Love it to bits.
I mean, one of my favorite old sort of 40s and 50s sci-fi tropes is, by the year 2000, we have taken over the moon. Unfortunately not. Yeah.
It'd be nice to make sure the Earth survives first, wouldn't it? That'd be, let's settle that first, and then let's go forward, right?
Oh, I've just noticed it says here that the Leagues of Votann Codex has 2 transfer sheets with it. That must just be in the box. Yeah, that must just be in the box.
In the box, I'd assume. Yeah, the big boxed army. Yeah.
God damn it! I desperately want to have
that Codex cover as well. Wow, that's lovely. That's very nice. Oh dear me.
Yeah, I do look how fed up they all look with their shit. Just
they're dwarves, aren't they? Technically, and dwarves are like that in these fantasy science fiction universes.
Is the head in the back the head of Zardos?
Absolutely, it is, and it's coming up to tell you that the gun is good and the penis is bad.
I was going to say, can we have a naked Sean Connery for this army?
Give us half a chance. I'll see what I can do.
Good man, get him in there.
All I need is a troll slayer and some green putty action.
Yo, get Bob.
Out of.
No, Cassius 335 has asked if there is an actual god of tech in 40k. Do you think he prefers the squats because they actually fix stuff? Well, the god of tech would be the Omnicia, wouldn't it? And the Omnicia is probably a Catan.
Yeah.
Probably a Catan. So
probably in prison somewhere if it is a Catan.
Yeah, well, under Mars. That's where it's supposed to be. Well, sort of under Mars, but it got out, didn't it? It's the Void Dragon.
Yeah.
It's the Void Dragon, technically. Although there was... Do you guys remember when the Chaos God of Technology was Khorne?
Yes. Exactly what I was about to say. Yeah.
Way back when. Because technological innovation has traditionally always been driven by war, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and Khorne
at one point was also the god of industry, and industry begets tech. So
yeah, once upon a time.
I think it still is an AOS.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't specifically mentioned it for a long time.
No,
I mean, like a really long time. I think the last time I remember it being printed in an army book was in the old epic Renegades. It wasn't even a book; it was a pamphlet. It was just like paper, That was a long time ago. Whether it's still true, I mean, who knows? There's references to it still, though. I mean, like the Khorne Demon engines, like the Skull Cannon and whatnot, are references to it.
So I've just had a thought.
No, stop that.
You know the Grimnir's got the 2 little corpses next to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, paint him up as Hack and Slash from Reboot.
Oh yeah! Oh, fabulous! Yes.
That could be fun. Yeah, I like the idea of that.
That could work very, very well indeed.
I don't think he'd make a very good megabyte, though, but that's okay. That's okay.
You can't really see him there, can you? Now begins the hunt.
If you give him, do it with like a Necron Lord, that would probably work, right?
Yes, you could get away with that.
Yeah, Necron Overlord would work.
I'm not going to buy this guy twice just so I can turn one of them into a...
But what if you did?
Oh god, there's 2 builds for him as well, isn't there? So you could actually
Is
have the
there?
male and female one. Yeah, there's a female
Oh,
version as well.
oh,
Did they show?
that's
They didn't
so
show that,
good.
did they? At least not in the
They
article here.
did. They showed the head on the stream, but they
Oh,
didn't
on the
show
stream.
the. Yeah, they didn't show the full miniature built as the female. They just showed the head, I think.
I wonder why they didn't show it in the article then. That's weird.
Weird. I don't know.
Actually, I'm now picturing what an entire Necron army would look like in Megabytes colors. You know that black, that sort of blue and green and red. That would look really good.
What's the smallest speaker you can get? Like smallest Bluetooth speaker?
Oh, I
If you
don't
can
know.
get one small enough to be put underneath the bases of your Necrons, and then just have a load of Tony J on your phone, and you just get them to start talking in Tony J's sex voice, that would be amazing.
I think it'd probably just be easier and better if you just ran up to people and shoved your phone in their face playing the tunes
Possibly.
of Tony J. I
Possibly.
mean,
Imagine, if you will, you just set up all your army, and then you just get him, like, start playing the intro from Soul Reaver.
oh
Please.
yeah.
The Elder God is just talking.
So good.
Mm.
So good.
Shall we move on to the next story?
Yeah.
Sure. What else have we got? Is this the Warhammer Underworlds thing? The Gore Chosen of
is.
Grom.
That is. Do you want to take it there, Joy?
Oh, well, these are Khorne miniatures, and I've never been a Khorne fanboy, but they are Chaos, so yeah, why not? They're obviously inspired. They're going to be part of the what are they called? Khorne's guys, the Blades of Khorne. They're called now, aren't they? The
Yeah,
Bloodbound.
the Gore Chosen and the Blades
Gore
of Khorne, yeah.
Chosen. That's right. They're aesthetically derived from them, and boy, are they good. I mean, wow, the priest miniature, Drom himself with that head crest.
Totally not Aztec.
Wow. I mean, no, totally not at all.
If you were going to do that, doing something resembling the Emperor's New Groove isn't going to happen.
Well,
But I mean, I'm not a Khorne guy. I'm really not. He's my sort of least favorite of the Chaos powers. But wow, I mean, these guys are fantastic. You're going to see them turning up all over the shop. They're going to be people in, from 40k converting them into World Eaters, obviously. They're going to turn up in Bloodbound armies across the board because they are stunning. They're just brilliant. You don't often get like Khorne miniatures that are this ornate.
no, I suppose this is what happens when you go more into like dedicated like Stranger Things that Warcry can do rather than your generic kind of fighters, right?
Yeah, and I love.
But you did
that
get the
for
Slaughter Priests, I suppose, didn't you, in
Khorne. I
AOS?
suppose you
So
did, which
they
are
weren't
kind of
quite.
interesting.
Yeah, they weren't quite this detailed, but again, when you go into Warcry, they can make very
Well,
detailed
when you go
characters,
into-
right?
That's it. When you go into Warcry, each of the miniatures is a character, right? So
Yeah.
it's given the same attention that a character model would be. And they're just stunning. There's so much going on. There's so much going on. Although my personal favorite of all of them is the large guy with the hammer. I think he is spectacular.
Oh, they didn't do a close-up shot of him for some reason on the article.
Unfortunately not. I mean,
What?
unfortunately not. He's
Why?
He's a very particular. What are they called? The sort of smiths from the Bloodbound. They're these like mythical smiths of Khorne that just appear in warbands out of the wastelands and forge their weapons for them. That's what he is, and oh my god, he is just wonderful.
Looks like a dude from Doom. Both of neither of the priests, but both of the other guys look like Doom guys.
They do look like
demons.
Doom demons, don't
Yeah.
they? They really do.
Do you
The other
remember
guy,
the Ornate Champions that came out for Necromunda?
No.
yes,
Do you guys ever?
from a while back, yeah.
Yeah, a couple of years back now. Yeah. So what's really cool here is they've taken that aesthetic from those guys and AOS'd it.
Yeah.
Right? It's absolutely beautiful. The Aztec priest guy at the front, obviously, he's his own thing. But the other two guys, there is almost a one-to-one, like evolution you can see between the whatever I can't think what they're called now. I shall call them Gore Boys. I can't think what the hell they're called. But they're almost the exact same thing, only turned into way less, and I love it. I'm right in for it. The guy with the skull for a face, well, both got skull for faces. The chunky boy rather than big muscle boy.
Oh.
He's got the same kind of fire effect in him and everything. It's brilliant. I love it.
It is really lovely, isn't it? I mean, the really big guy, the hulking guy. I love the notion that he's a slaughter priest who's turning into a Korgorath. So that's how they're born. I mean, there was never really any background on where the Korgoraths actually came from, but I like the idea that like Khornate champions and priests who have just gone overboard perhaps become them.
Like the fact that if you scare a Korg enough, it just vomits skulls at you.
Yeah, that is funny too. Yeah.
Just jump out it.
If I was going to get one of these guys, it would be the big guy with the hammer. I think he's spectacular. And it's a slightly different aesthetic for Khorne as well.
It is, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I love the fact that the guy here is chubby. I love the fact he's chubby. It just makes me so happy seeing a chubby...
Just a little paw. Not super paw, just a little paw.
No. Well, interestingly, in the the White Dwarf with the World Eaters Index Astartes article in it, there's a whole page of conversions of World Eater models, and one guy he's taken the Blight Lord Terminators from the Death Guard and turned them into blood-swollen Khornate Terminators. Which is a lovely idea, right?
That is really cool.
I love that. Gorged on blood. I mean, that's I mean, if I was going to do a Khorne army, that's what I'd do. They'd be like cannibalistic, and they would be gorged on blood and bone. They'd just eat their enemies, which I think is fabulous.
This means, of course, that you would have to model at least 2 of them just eating a femur.
Yeah, just gnawing. But no, they're lovely. They're a lovely little warband. They're probably not miniatures I would get for myself because I'm not really a Khorne guy. But wow, I'm very, very pleased for the people who are.
I usually like my boys fully armored. So I got the one that came with the Fleshhound in like season 1, whatever those guys, Margot's guys, whatever they were called.
Ravagers,
yeah. The character you're talking about, Andy.
Marak's Ravagers.
Yeah. Those are the ones I got, and they were neat. I enjoyed painting them, but these guys feel a bit more, I don't know, human. In obviously even the big one that's turning, and so isn't my cup of tea quite as much as just pure Chaos Warriors. But I still like them. I think they're nice. It's just I'd probably steer clear of them, and they're not vampires, so what can you do?
They're not vampires.
They're not vampires.
Not technically. No. They probably do drink blood, but not vampires.
Steal blood that's not theirs.
Yeah, the strictest sense.
Right, moving on then. Shall we talk about...
These are a bit of a surprise. The Blood Pelt Hunter, for the Ogre tribes. I mean, we were just talking about these guys, right?
Yeah, we said it was never going to happen. We said, where are the ogres?
We were dead wrong, because apparently they're coming out reasonably soon, right?
We need to stop talking about things that aren't happening, because then they do happen.
Because then they happen, right?
Yeah, the next day.
Oh, the Emperor's Children are never going to happen. Fulgrim, no, we're never going to see Fulgrim in 40k.
No, unfortunately, it only works if we come at it sideways. If we just come out and say it, it never happens that way. What I've noticed is if we come at something sideways, it usually happens.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
In fact, I was really shocked. The Ogre Moor tribes and the Sons of Behemat are due, in autumn.
Weird, isn't it?
Absolutely shocked. Really shocked.
I love the fact that the day after we released that episode, there was a Warhammer community of show us your ogres. There
was, wasn't there? Like almost instantly, yes.
I was just sitting there, for fuck's sakes. Oh, for fuck's sakes.
I mean, just like we said in that episode, they're not for me. They're just not for me. I'm not a fan. But this guy looks great. I mean, he's a lovely miniature.
Yeah, absolutely fine. I mean, I think everything about the stuff he's wearing interests me, but him himself, no, it's not for me at all. Hello, Rufus. Bye-bye, Rufus.
Did she just go by somewhere on a hunt? Probably. I don't know. But yeah, he's fine. I mean, and I'm glad that the ogre tribes are getting a little bit of attention. They're actually getting a new book. Cool.
Andy's actually showing off King Broad, so we might as well jump straight into King Broad.
Yeah, I think I didn't get the ogre story up. I apologize for that.
Sorry.
But that was King Broad. Ogres and giants are the same. We all know. They're all just dudes that are big.
So what's everyone's
wow.
feelings on King Broad? Because
He's big.
He's massive, Eddie. He's absolutely enormous, this guy. He's
in
a
terms
bit
of
knock-kneed, isn't he?
yeah, the pose kind of makes me think like I don't know. I look at him and he feels only a little bit more different than the other giants. In a lot of ways, like his clothing and outfit are different and his weapon are different. But I don't know, it's something about the pose that just makes me go, it mentally just goes, it's too similar for my liking.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the giant kit with an extra sprue.
Oh,
is that what it is?
Well, that would explain it. Okay.
Right, okay.
Well, that's a shame. I get it, it saves money, but that's a bit of a shame.
Yeah, especially considering that he's supposed to be a special character, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I want the creepers.
Are they the little red things?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're cute.
Yeah.
They'd be good
So,
on a goblin.
Creepers, tiny red imps that braid the beards of these giant beings,
Aw.
apply their walk and ride them into battle.
They're the hairstylists.
That's brilliant. That is
Aw.
brilliant.
They are the AOS equivalent of Joel Schumacher, and I am all in.
Are they like the little tiny birds that pick the teeth of crocodiles?
Kind of, I imagine, yeah.
Yeah, that's cute.
So
But
what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be watching out for bits sites. I'm going to be trying to buy a ton of creepers.
I was going to say that would be very expensive to buy the entire kit just for those things, wouldn't it? Because he's big, isn't he? He's going to be very expensive.
One thing I do like about him is he looks too tired.
Mm-hmm.
He looks very tired, like he needs to sleep. Well, no, it's
He
not
does
even
look
that.
really tired, doesn't he?
It's like he's had a 24-hour shift and he's been called back to work for another 24-hour shift, and he's just like, I don't want to.
I don't want to do this, but I must. I must.
Yeah.
I'm too big to not have the heating on. Do you guys know about the Sons of Bahamut and why King Broad exists?
No.
No, not really.
Okay, so this is quite cool. So the Gargants have just been Gargants for years and years and years. And it's only recently when they've started getting bigger and becoming the Mega Gargants, or as I like to prefer to call them, Megargants, because it's right fucking there. Not Mega Gargant, call them Megargants. It's right there. And fell apart at the last hurdle now. Because Behemoth died, they've been getting bigger in order for one of them to take his place and become the God Beast.
Right, okay.
And King Broad is the one that is going to take his place. So what we've got here is him proto God Beast.
Ah, okay.
He's about to become the father of Gargants.
Right,
And
okay. So, I mean, is that actually happening then? Like metaphysically,
Yeah.
he is going
Yeah.
to replace the God Beast at some point.
Yeah, because there isn't a God Beast and nature rebels a vacuum. So he's
that's
slowly and
interesting.
surely becoming the God Beast in order to be the father of Gargants, because there isn't one at the moment.
Right,
It's
so he's
a
almost like
Sigmar's
a balancing factor,
building.
yeah?
Exactly, yeah. And it's such a cool idea that these Gargants be getting bigger and bigger to fight amongst themselves for one of them to become the God Beast. And it's such a great concept.
I like that a lot, actually. That makes me want to read the book a little bit more, to find out about the metaphysics.
The Sons of Behemoth is a really, really good book. It's pitched just perfectly to get that little fairy tale feel to it, but also being grim, dark, and horrendous at
I
times.
remember when they first introduced them, they had this really sort of like proper old school fairy tale vibe about them.
Yeah. I mean, it's proper grim fairy tales. It's really good.
And of course,
what's cool?
Wouldn't it be
Sorry.
neat if, like, one of the different faces for the giants had, like, a giant eating a goblin, so his mouth was open and the goblin's just, like, holding the mouth open going, ah!
Oh, that would be ace.
That'd be a
That
good
would
character
be
model, right?
Fantastic, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be fun.
I mean,
God, they need to do that.
the best of the giants that I really like is the Kraken Eater.
Yeah,
Because
that's my
apparently they
favourite
just walk off into the sea and just walk along its bottom, just like doop-be-doop.
as you do,
Okay.
as you do.
Yeah, and occasionally just break ships and eat Kraken. They're great.
Of course, we've also got the rather surprising Battletome roadmap underneath. So the Disciples of Peach are just round the corner, apparently, along with the Lumineth. Didn't
Which
expect
makes
that.
the Lumineths 4th book so far.
Oh my god.
Really? Are you kidding?
You know what's
It might be
worse?
third. It might
They
be
get a
third.
new cover image. They get a new cover image, and yet other armies that had their book didn't. Bull ploppy.
It's true. It's true. The Nighthaunt.
ploppy.
Yeah, it's true.
And Skaven as well.
And
They didn't get a
Skaven,
new cover.
yeah.
There were quite a few others that didn't either.
That's the
Lumineth
that's the
4th
one,
book,
isn't it?
new cover. Is it because like the Lumineth are like fully like AOS-y?
I think that's it. Yes, they're one
That's
of the big
mean.
armies, aren't they? They're one of
Yeah.
they're a complete AOS range, like the Disciples of Zeech. So of course they get a new cover too.
That's stinky.
Um,
But Nighthaunt
swear
are
to God,
completely
if-
AOS. That's so annoying.
Yeah. Swear to God, if the Lumineth get like a new miniature for this book
They
release,
almost
I'm-
certainly will get a character miniature because they all do,
I'm gonna-
don't
I'm going to
Wow.
eat it. I'm just going to eat the book in front of the manager of my local games workshop.
they?
Walk in, pay for it,
They'll-
and just devour it.
There'll almost certainly at least be like a character miniature of some description.
Probably at least one. Yeah.
But I am looking forward to the Disciples of Zeech. I mean, these chaos-specific books, the Chaos God-specific books for AOS have always been dynamite. They've always been fantastic reads, if nothing else. And the Disciples of Zeech books have always been wonderful. So I'm really looking forward to this.
Well, if you remember back when we first started, the
Yes.
Disciples of Siege book was the one that turned AOS round.
It was the one, wasn't it? It was the one that dropped and changed everything, right? It
Yeah.
changed the nature of chaos in the game completely
Mhm.
because it was the first god-specific book and the first god-specific range ever.
Yeah.
It was wonderful, and it has, it's gone from strength to strength since, really.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah. But the last one was really good as well.
Yeah, it was. It really was. And then, of course, in autumn, we've got the Ogre, Moor Tribes, and the Sons of Behemat. And then in winter, one that they've really been pushing hard, haven't they? The Slaves to Darkness.
I wish it wasn't called Slaves to Darkness. I wish to be an old man, and I wish it was a Realm of Chaos book.
Yeah.
I wish I wish all of the fantasy ones were all just called Realm of Chaos.
Realm of Chaos.
So then you could have your Realm of Chaos series throughout the
Oh,
eras.
so it sort of unites them. So they were
Yeah.
called like Realms of Chaos, Disciples of Zeech, Realms of Chaos,
Yes.
Magnakin of Nurgle, Realms of Chaos, Hedonites. That would be a nice sort of uniting label. For
And
the
I say
name.
that because, like, the cover does remind me of the Realms of Chaos book from however
Yes.
many where the multi-parts kit started, whatever edition that was. It reminds me.
1996.
It was
Yeah.
the one that you gave to me, Adam.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one. That's the
Yep.
one. That was when the plastic kits really started to filter in. And the Chaos Warriors are one of like the earliest multi-part kits you could buy, right?
Yeah. Yeah. There
Those-
was them, there
those
was the
really-
Skaven, and
Those
Beastmen.
hunched ones, yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, they're very
Oh,
hunchy.
heads were it. Perfect for sculpting beards into, and then
Yeah.
calling them Chaos Dwarfs. Yeah.
But yeah, they're throwing a lot at this book. It seems there's a lot of attention being thrown at this book. So you've got like new Chosen, and there's the new Demon Prince that we've already seen. There's apparently a couple of other things coming round the corner as
That's
well.
the one, Andy. That's the one.
That's the one. Love it.
So pretty. Well,
I guess
think
a good
That's
lead
it.
into more chaos stuff, though. I guess, right? Because there's more
Yeah.
to talk about, right?
Written by
Oh, yeah.
Tumas Perinian, I believe, that book, and it was a bit of a corker when it came out because it changed that was the Realms of Chaos book that changed the format of Chaos armies in fantasy battle completely. So before that, the Realms of Chaos books, the armies were just like these explosions in paint factories. You had demons and you had dragons and chaos warriors and all of different gods and whatnot. That book, the Tumas Perinian book, it established this notion that you took detachments in a chaos army. So you could have like a demon detachment, a beastman detachment, and a chaos warrior detachment. And they could all work together if you wanted, or you could focus on one or the other. It was just an interesting way of organizing chaos back in the day.
Oh, I'm having flashbacks now. Why did I give that book away?
It's really good. It is a lovely book. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a really lovely book. But
You can't
know
have it
how-
back.
Reading it through, how tiny were armies back then?
Oh, yeah.
Like 2,000 point armies, like 2,000 point Chaos Warrior armies are literally 3 units. and that's it. It's your Chaos Warriors, your Chaos Knights, and your Lord or your Sorcerer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's 2,000 points. It's like, oh my god.
To throw a little bit of
Oh, there
ideas
they
into the air.
are.
They're not warriors, but they are demons. But you got the 5th edition,
Yeah.
like, Bloodthirster there.
Yeah, right. Wow.
That's good stuff.
That's a big army as well. That's
a
two
massive Chaos Army.
That's a Bloodthirster, Demon Prince. You got the Juggernauts there, Flesh Hounds.
You would have to go to a special tournament to field that army in that under that book, because there's no way you'd get a Demon Prince and a Bloodthirster into a same sized army.
How do you even beat that army?
Back then with the Bloodthirster in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Pray.
Pray for a 6.
Well, no, pray for an earthquake that topples the miniatures over and makes you can't finish.
That's true.
Because it's madness. That army there under that book would be madness. But I mean, I've really liked the Slaves to Darkness books they've done thus far for AOS, so I'm excited for this one. I just hope that they do something narratively with it, to move it on a little bit. I want to see what Archaon's doing, because Balacor's been very active. He'll be in this book as well. Balacor's been very active. Archaon has been shunted right into the background recently.
It's part of what we were saying last week, that the narrative seems to have stalled.
Yeah, it does a little bit. There needs to be like
maybe Slaves to Darkness will kick it off again. Maybe that's what the big thing will be.
Maybe so.
I've got a theory.
I
have a theory, and let's see if this pans out. Slaves to Darkness are getting a massive push because the Cities of Sigmar is coming.
Yes, I think you're right.
So you need to balance this. So you have a massive push by the Slaves to Darkness to be then met by the Order of the Cities of Sigmar coming the other way. And I think that's what's going to happen.
That'd be fun.
I think that's going to be the start of next year, and that's going to be the narrative going forward for the next year is that there's a push happening.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, have you seen that? I mean, the boxed army for the Slaves to Darkness. I want it for the box. It's gorgeous. That's one of the most beautiful boxes they've ever done.
Well, should we talk about that? Because that's one of the Nova stories.
Oh, it's I'm getting that. I am having that. It's wonderful. That is.
Moving over to the Slaves to Darkness themselves, then let's do it.
I mean,
that box,
it's not. It's not a big army because it's a Slaves to Darkness army, and they don't tend to be big. But
they don't have to be.
No, they don't have to be. I mean, my God. I mean, this is an interesting army actually, because I'm assuming from this boxed set that Chosen have now moved over to core. Because Chosen didn't used to be core before. They were your elite slot technically.
True.
But it looks like because they are all you get in this box set, they're your core units. So are Slaves to Darkness going to be able to take Chosen as core? If so, that's mental. That's madness. If they're as tough as they used to be, yeah.
Yeah. I would like to do a Chaos Army.
Yeah. Oh, a Slaves to Darkness one, Adam.
Kind of.
Do you want to dye your hair black and grow a part over your eye as well? Start listening to Korn again and Papa Roach.
Go. Don't make me scat in a Korn voice. I'll do it all day long. I have fallen in love with the upgrades.
Oh.
Absolutely fallen in love with them. I fucking adore them.
They're really good, aren't they?
Oh my God. So I've got the two that already exist, the Myrmidon and the Thermitage. I'm just over there, which you can't see because the camera's pointing this way rather than that way. But now we've seen like an actual unit of them.
Yeah, this is really strange. I mean, like, I love it. I love the fact that they're really expanding these guys and they're making them like their own bespoke species in Chaos.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I'm all for it.
Is it?
I mean, my guess is that. Sorry.
Is it not a little bit of a detriment to say the Beastmen of Chaos? Because from a visual standpoint, these are Gorballs, right?
They're very
I'm
similar.
thinking they're Minotaurs.
Yeah, they're very similar. Well, Gorballs are Minotaurs.
Yeah,
Gorballs are
yeah.
Minotaurs.
So does it not kind of take away from the Beasts of Chaos that these guys, unless these go in the Beasts of Chaos, or the Beastmen of Chaos books?
I think if, as and when the Beasts of Chaos hit these, there might be some cross-pollination
Yeah.
between. I think that's very, very likely indeed.
I guess maybe that's my issue. I'd prefer the Slaves to Darkness to be more the human-y kind of stuff,
The
and
sort
keep
of
the
warriors,
Yeah.
the marauders. I tell you one thing they do need to do, really they need to do it for this book, a new marauder set.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Please, because it's ancient.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
ancient.
there's something at the bottom of this article, which is this set will be the first place you can acquire these updated rules. There's more to come, but the Dark Master has wreathed them in shadow until the time is right.
Oh, that's interesting.
Which makes me think that there is more to come for the slaves before we get that box.
The Marauders have to be done, because that is, again, one of the oldest sets in existence.
And you kind of need unless you're doing an entire elite army, you kind of need your light, like Gubbin forces to die.
I mean, you want your Marauders because they're the tribes, they're the peoples, and they're fun. You know,
Yeah.
it's great to have them.
Well, let me give you a little suggestion here. Marauders are replaced by the Warcry boxes.
That might be it. That might be it.
No, that's exactly it. Because if you remember, we saw a preview of the Slaves to Darkness contents page, which is why I got excited when I saw the Horns of Hashut. Fuck you, Games Workshop. And what you saw was that each of the tribes had their own rules, which means the Marauders are being replaced by those guys.
That's fine, because those miniatures are all stunning. They're all stunning. And because they all have their own flavour and character, that makes the tribes even more interesting. Great.
Yeah.
I'm up for that.
Which we not. Sorry, my brain just went fart there.
Oh, Andy, you found them.
I thought I got Warcry and Shadespire mixed up. It's like, oh god, no, I meant Warcry. Did I say Warcry? I think I said Warcry. I did say Warcry. That's okay then. And we know that they're coming out as AOS boxes with 20 miniatures each. So that's a unit.
Oh,
yeah. So
that's
exactly what's going to happen.
Well, that makes perfect sense, because those are the tribes of Chaos, right?
Exactly.
Makes perfect
I'm in
sense.
for that.
Also, it's a nice way of moving them on from that sort of old... I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the old Norscan look, but it is very old hat, isn't it? It doesn't really fit in AOS like it did in Fantasy Battle, right?
I think it could fit, but only in specific places.
That's it, only in the very, very specific areas, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the old Chaos armies sound like they have Amon Wrath playing in the background as they march to war. The new ones feel like there's just jazz instrumental style guitars going constantly.
They've
just
gone weird with them, right? They've just gone bizarre with them, which is wonderful. That's what they should do with Chaos. Like, why would all the tribes that serve the Chaos powers look and function the same, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That doesn't
Absolutely.
make any sense. That really never made sense back in Fantasy Battle, really.
No.
I'll still miss the 5th edition ones that are up on screen. I still like them with the stupid flails.
I've got a huge soft spot for them, because they came out when I really started to get into the Fantasy Battle system for Chaos, and I've got a lot of them. I've got a hell of a lot of them, but they are old. They're really old. It's about time they went the way of the no-no.
Well, I think if you ever wanted to get rid of them, Big Swinging D over on the chat is after some for his Wolf Scouts.
Oh, wow.
You know, I'm never going to call you anything other than Big Swinging D. I just want you to know that.
Can I throw in something that I don't like about the Chosen?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't like the fact that you can see their eyes through the helmet. Why do you think that is? Why do you think I wouldn't like being able to see their eyes through the helmet visors?
Because it reminds you of the old Prince Valiant cartoon.
Well, there's that as well. But I'm not good enough to paint their eyes in that little tiny crevice.
I know what you mean. It's a bitch, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
a right royal bitch.
It looks like it's even worse than trying to paint the Thousand Suns rubric eyes, because it's not just like you put in a dot, you have to do the flesh tone in there and then put the eye and get that all right in a really small area.
This is going to be
It's very
difficult.
cool,
I
but
mean, they're great miniatures.
they're
and it's about
amazing.
time,
Yeah.
because like the Chosen have been suffering with old metal miniatures for a long time.
And probably resin as well, right?
Well, resin, yeah. I mean, like when they originally came out, though, those were in metal. That's how old they are. They've been around for such a long time, and they've never been good. They were crap when they first came out. I mean, these guys are supposed to be the chosen of chaos, right? They are the most blessed of the chaos warriors. The eyes of the gods are upon them. They never looked it. They never functioned like it. These guys look incredible. Incredible. I love them to bits, and I want them all.
Jai is still watching. I just want Jai to have a look at the two the two chosen at the beginning of the carousel.
What's the
directly to one
beginning of
the
the carousel?
the axe and the standard bearer.
The standard.
Oh, there we go. Okay, got it.
Right now, Jai, look straight into their eyes and say to me, "Blade with whom I have lived, blade with whom I now die." And I'm just going to leave that reference out there for anybody who might know what I'm talking about.
I get it, but you know.
It's amazing. I've never been picked up for my singing voice.
But I mean, they're beautiful. These things are absolutely stunning. They've made them at long last like the chosen equivalents of the Chaos Warrior set that we've got knocking about now, which is lovely. You know, they needed upgrading and they've done it. They look like they're quite big as well. These guys look quite beefy, you know, like they've been swollen with the powers of chaos.
I think they're going to be on, from the looks of things, and I'm just guessing, I don't have any reference, I'm guessing they're going to be on the Stormcast scale basis, right?
That would be my guess, yes, because that's kind of the level these guys should be operating at.
Oh, yeah. So, have they updated? Like, it's been a while since I've looked at starter sets for the Chaos Warriors. Have they updated the Slaves of Darkness set, or is it still the very, very old starter kit for Slaves to Darkness? Do you know?
Oh, I have no idea.
I think it's still the old starter.
It's still the old one.
Oh no. Oh no! They did update it. They did update it.
It has been updated. Oh, good.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah, they did it. Yeah, it's the one with the... Yeah, I was thinking of the one before that, which is the one that you were thinking of as well. No, this one has the 4 knights, the guy on the big lizard dog thing, and then the warriors, which look really good.
I think it's called, or something
yeah,
like that.
Lizard dog,
That
whatever.
thing's never actually had a release by itself, has it?
Why would it?
Has it not? Cripes.
I don't think it has.
That's very naughty because it's an absolute staple of Chaos Forces at the moment.
We probably shouldn't get into the what have GW not released that should be released, because the Nighthorn again the Nighthorn massively suffer from that. Again, it's something that they should, I don't know, look at. Maybe once. Yeah, Slaves of Darkness, they look great. It makes me go, maybe I should buy some, but I'm not gonna.
This set, as long as it's reasonably priced, I'm picking that up.
What do you mean reasonable, George?
What
do you mean reasonable?
I would pay like 100 and maybe 40, 50 for that.
What do you think, Griff? Is that reasonable?
I think that's probably not far off the mark.
I'd be okay.
I mean, think so. Demon's going to be about 30, 35.
Yeah.
And then you've got the 3 guys there, 28 to 35 for them. And then it'll be a £40 box set. So 100 quid, 110 maybe. It depends, because that demon, I can imagine that demon print maybe hitting 40.
It's a very elaborate kit as well, that demon print, because it makes the Chaos Space Marines one as well, and all of the individual god specific demon princes. So it's a very big kit, that one.
If I was to go down this route, then I would take that demon prince, I would put the corn head on it, and then paint it in the same colours as the Ogroids, who, by the way, I'm now going to call the Ogoliaths from this point forward, because Ogroid's a stupid name. And then I would see who wants the Zeech head, the Nurgle head, and the Slaneshi head. I feel that I know someone who might want the Slanesh head, And I think I know someone who might want the Zeech head.
And the Slanesh head. I think that should be the title of the episode.
I'm actually surprised he wouldn't use the corn head and just make him into like a Hashut demon or something like that.
Yeah, 'cause that's the very image of Hashut,
Motherfucker.
isn't it, right?
I'm helping. I'm a good friend.
That is the very image of Hashut.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Hang on. Right, so you do that. Demon Prince of Hashut. You've got the Ogroids, which have a real bull feel to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Followers of Hashut.
You've got
Holy.
your servants of Hashut, you cultists of Hashut, right?
And then all you do is you get a saw and chop off the legs of the Chosen. And there you go. They're Chaos Dwarves.
Little Chaos Dwarfs running around.
Yeah. Just really tough ones with no legs.
Holy.
Like
I could have
really
a beast
powerful
army of
ones.
Hashut.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. I'm a good
Oh.
friend. Everybody likes having me as their friend because I help them part with their money sometimes.
That's such a good idea.
Yeah.
Because you got the Thermitage, so you just need to change that so it looks like he's turning into stone when he's using magic. Oh, no.
Oh yeah, if you want to do the whole turning to stone thing, you could just do the whole like texture paint thing as well, couldn't you? So it gets all cracky on their body. Yeah, easy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be rocking. That'd look really good.
Yeah, be fun.
That works really well.
Yeah, if you use the Midwinter Minis video for how he painted his Necrons, you could just change the stone color from like a sandstony to a just hard stone color. Boom,
Yeah,
you're done.
yeah. Oh, goodness
That's
me.
Easy peasy.
Goddamn. That's a really, really good idea.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Oh,
Fabulous.
honestly, that's such a good idea. I really want to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, bollocks. Okay, right.
Brilliance. Absolute
Fucking-
brilliance. And now that
Oh,
Andy's
nice.
mentioned it, I can't get over how much the corn head looks like Hashut.
Yeah,
I
yeah, it
actually
really
Oh,
can't
does.
get over
no, you're absolutely bang on. Absolutely bang on. That is such a great idea. Well, so I get upset. Shall we move on to the
it.
next one?
Shall we?
Yeah.
Shall we have a look at the big boy?
So, what we have here is the War Master Ascendant, or as I like to call him, the third Mitchell brother.
Oh my god. Oh my god, he does look like he's related to Grant and Phil Mitchell. Oh my god, I hate
really
it.
does.
There's an element to
Yeah.
that, isn't
I actually
there?
find it fascinating how much in that CGI he looks like just a guy.
Yeah, yeah.
It's really interesting to me how much Horace just looks like a guy, and it kind of makes him a little bit more horrific.
Mm.
You know, you're used to Horace as he looks in those old art pictures where
Oh,
he's
where
just
he's like
grotesque.
swollen and like there's
Yeah.
cracks on his flesh from where the chaos is pouring through. Yeah, where he looks almost bestial, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It looks feral. And what you have here is still that there's a bestiality to him, but that's not the word I'm after.
It's
no?
contained, isn't it? It's like it's the Primarch is still in there somewhere, and the chaos is fusing and surrounding him, right? So this is Horus from a particular point in the heresy, isn't it? This is Horus from like right at the very end.
Yeah, this is after he's been in his little underworld jaunt and he's come
so
out.
it's after he's had his little nap and his powwow with chaos powers, and he's now up and about. He's actually doing stuff, and he's really powerful at this point. Yeah.
And it shows how much better this is. I hate to say it, 100,000 times better than the stuff the Forge World did. It's so much better than that kit.
It's so much better, isn't it?
It's not
just
even, it's not like a
not
minor
even-
upgrade. It's not just
No.
like a little one. It's a massive upgrade.
There's no competition, is
No.
there? You compare this to the original Horus miniature that came out for Horus Heresy, and it's just like, no.
I would be
There's-
really annoyed if I had that one now because this one just looks better. And
Yeah.
I'd be really annoyed because if I had any of that series, I'd be like, no, just redo them. They need to redo them like this.
Yeah.
'Cause come on.
absolutely, Absolutely.
It's
'Cause
just
this
not
is
fair.
Superior, isn't it? It is
Yeah,
just,
so much.
it is the War Master, right? I mean, this is probably the best depiction I've ever seen of the guy.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It is absolutely stunning. The base is amazing. The sculpt is, well, I mean, you throw up your hands, don't you? It's amazing. It's absolutely incredible. Yeah, what else is there to say?
I mean, it is worth saying that this is a resin miniature. This isn't a
Hmm.
plastic kit. This is going to be a resin Forge World.
Oh, really? Wow.
Release.
I thought this
Yeah.
was a plastic boy. But I guess that makes sense.
No, this is resin again. But I mean, the work that's been done. I think it's a weird one because Horus Heresy, at the start of Horus Heresy, things look odd to
Yeah.
me, and I've never been able to put my finger on what it is. I think it comes down to a lot of the miniatures have a sense of stasis to them. They don't
Yeah.
look dynamic.
I know what you
But then-
mean.
Then you look at this guy and you're like, fuck, someone really just ups the game
Yeah.
big time. But they were saying as well that there are other Primarchs that they can do ascended models about.
Of course. I mean,
I'm
like,
looking it
some
out.
of them, obviously, they can just use the 40k versions, like the Demon Primarchs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably the idea, right?
Yeah, just use the 40k
Yeah.
ones, because they're the same. There's not much difference.
But I can't think of any loyalist Primarchs would be ascended. I mean, you're not going to get like a new Sanguinius or anything like
No.
that, are you?
No, what they could do instead of having them as ascended, they could have them the opposite. They could have them ground down for the end of the heresy. Like by the end, a lot of them are badly wounded. A lot of them are really. I mean, Sanguinius is like fighting. He's the last one fighting at the gates, right?
Mm.
By the end, so that would be fun. That would be interesting.
I look forward to Forge World releasing Dead Sanguinius.
Ah! That would be brilliant. That would be really.
You can see the trailer,
fantastic.
can't you? Horus ascended. Magnus ascended. Logar ascended. Sanguinius beheaded.
Dead.
Deaded. Yeah, ascended Lehman Russ would just be an empty base because he's twatting around in the warp.
Brilliant.
So
Absolute
40
brilliant.
quid though. Yeah, I mean, this Horus is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, isn't it stunning? I mean, like you can't quite stop looking at it, can you? When
No.
you've got it up on your screen, it is mesmerizingly good.
I keep looking through the base just to see what else I can see in there.
Yeah, the bits and pieces. There's so much detail in there, actually. So much detail. Way more than you think when you first just glance at it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
There's
that's
the
gorgeous.
references all over the place. It's
I mean, one
I'm
they
trying to work
could
out what the guy's head is.
One they absolutely could do is Perturabo. They could do Perturabo over again because at this point in the heresy, Perturabo he's ensconced in this massive engine that's feeding him all of the data from the Siege of Terror. So they could actually
Yeah.
do him in that machine. You know, that'd be kind of cool.
Oh, I would like to see that.
That'd be fun, right?
Would it be horrible if we got a resin Fulgrim ascended before we got the actual Primarch, Demon Primarch?
Yeah, that would be the worst. That would be the worst. Don't do that. Do not do that. Do not. But there are loads of characters that they're going to have to do from the book. Sigismund obviously is going to have to turn up at some point. Like just loads of little Space Marine characters that have been significant throughout the entire series. There's a lot of them. There's a heck of a lot of them.
There's never been a Malcador, has there?
Has there not?
I don't think so.
That's an oversight, surely, because Malcador is huge. Malcador's one of the main characters from the Heresy, right?
Is he? Yeah, but has he ever been in the fights? He's always a guy in the background, but maybe the reason they haven't done it because he's not a fighter.
That's true. I mean, but he is. I mean, he is one of the most powerful psychers in the universe, barring Magnus and the Emperor. Like that's the tier. It's the Emperor, Magnus, Malcador. You know, so
we could do with a new Lucius.
the
I
obvious
think
one is the Emperor, right?
Yeah. Maybe they're leaving that to last.
Yeah, I think that's probably going to be the case. And if they do the Emperor, maybe they'll do Malcador as a little aside miniature for him.
That'd be fun. I'd be down with that.
You know, his Makari, as it were. And he's a perpetual as well, isn't he, Malcador, if I
He
remember
is, yeah.
correctly? So, yeah, interesting stuff. I mean,
And then
I'm still fascinated with what they're actually going to do with Malcador and the Emperor at the end of the books. Because there's been some very weird suggestions about what the actual relationship between those two is, and which one is the real Emperor of mankind.
Oh.
Who knows, right?
just had a message from the friend of the podcast, Mr. Adamant. He's saying that he wants an Oath of Moment Garrow.
That'd be cool. I like
Yes.
Garrow.
Yes,
Yeah.
in fact,
Absolutely,
all of those guys, the ones who have been exiled from their legions, right? So Nathaniel Garrow, Garviel Loken, all of those characters who became the precursors for the Grey Knights.
Yeah, the Knights Errant.
Yeah.
If you want like I don't know whether it's an easy idea for a game. Do a Space Hulk like game, but with Garrow and his team.
Yeah.
And giving them a scenario book, and you go through different scenarios, putting down Horus evil boys or Xenos stuff. Yeah, go kill John Grammaticus or save him or something.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah, no skirmish book.
The one I want? Latara Sarin.
Who's that one?
Latara Sarin is the captain of the Conqueror, Angron's flagship, and she is amazing. She keeps Angron and the World Eaters in check. They respect her so much, and she's an amazing character. I want a miniature of her.
No.
Who doesn't want Tara, right?
It'd be nice to have a Battlefleet Gothic again, though, like 30k Battlefleet Gothic. That'd be interesting.
I mean, it would even make more sense in 30k because the space battles obviously are just huge in 30k.
Yeah, and you could probably actually diversify the Imperial forces and the Chaos forces to actually make each of the ships look different, like they probably should be.
Yes. Oh, massively. Yeah. I mean, for one thing, there would be just much more different types of marks. Around then, And in the Chaos Forces, there'd be even more because they're mutated, they're transformed, they've scavenged ships from aliens and from forbidden tech and whatnot by this point. So yeah, absolutely. You could even have character ships like Conqueror, like the Vengeful Spirit, and so on and so forth. It would be incredible.
Was the Phalanx around at that point?
The Phalanx was around at that point. There's enormous potential there.
So White also says he wants to see an Eisenhorn Space Hulk, which absolutely.
Yeah. You almost got that with the thing that you had, Gruff. With the Plague Pox boys. What was that one called?
Oh yeah, the Kill Team.
Kill Team. That was almost that.
It almost got there, didn't it? Yeah.
Just
really
not
good
just not themed. Yeah.
Really like that. And Big Swinging D says, "Give me miniatures of Ollie Pearson and Grammaticus."
John Grammaticus, of course. Yeah.
Only they have to be both dressed in like 21st century clothes.
Yeah. Just this little human guy.
Yeah, looking really like Shaun of the Dead characters.
Yeah, they've got to be like so aggressively normal, right?
Can John Grammaticus have like jeans? But you remember back when we were kids, how they were really big and baggy around the feet, so you can't even see his shoes.
John Grammaticus looks like he's fronting a new metal band. I'm on it.
I mean, in all seriousness, there are some of the human perpetuals and whatnot they could introduce because they've got very particular powers and capabilities. I mean, Euphrates Keeler, definitely. The saint who begins the ecclesiarchy.
Oh yeah.
I
Definitely.
mean, the only perpetuals, right? The only perpetual that's got a miniature is Vulcan, isn't it?
That's right. I think. Yeah, that's right. And that's because he just happens to be also a Primarch.
Shall we move on to the next story? Because we just a blank page.
Yes.
Because
I don't understand this at all. It's literally got the 40k symbol at the front, and then it's just a blank page all the way down.
No cornate vibes or symbols for you.
No, I'm saying it's just all blank, all blank. And at the very bottom, it just says it's not in the rules. It's the proper way to venerate the god of slaughter.
Yeah, it's
Well, that's
basically
weakness.
Adam's denialism is actually infecting the podcast at this point here.
Yeah, I mean,
Ignore
you
the
just look at it,
screen.
it's
Don't
literally
look at the
just a black
screen.
screen. Yeah.
Yeah,
Still nothing.
nothing.
No, I'm saying nothing. It says here about the old Chaos Berserkers looking great, and they're just the right size. And that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Not a single thing on this page. It's really weird.
Some orcs. I see orcs.
Yeah, and there's a roadmap at the bottom here, and it just says Chaos Demon, Leagues of Beltan, Astra Militarum, and some World Eaters. And, yeah, it's a really strange page. I'm gonna have to drop this now, aren't I? Else we can't actually talk about it.
We've got to talk about them. I mean, it's going to be painful. It's going to be painful, Adam, but we do have to talk about them.
The new Chaos Berserkers. It actually happened.
They actually do exist, despite Adam being desperate to deny the fact that they exist. They do. And I mean, Adam, they're great, right?
Fucking fantastic.
I mean, come on, they're kind of everything everybody's been asking for from the Khorne Berserkers. They're really wonderful.
I will, however, throw one thing in here, which it could be the fact that they just haven't built any of them up to look like this, or it could be a thing that's in the box. But no chain axe and power fist combo.
No, I mean, Khorne Berserkers haven't had power fists for yonks.
Mm-hmm.
Years and years and years. They have, they almost universally have chain axes or chain swords.
Yeah, I know. But there's that one Mark Gibbons piece of artwork, and it's just a shame that you can't recreate that.
You can't
to
recreate
go along with the Terminator. Yeah.
I mean,
to go along with this Terminator.
Can definitely have power fists and chain fists and whatnot, but the normal Khorne Berserkers, no. Not for a long time. Not for a long, long time. Since Second Ed.
Yeah. Christ, really? Is it that long?
Yeah, it's that long. I mean, back in Second Ed, because, like, everything was much more... I mean, Second Ed's really weird. Everything was much more open back then. So, like, almost everything could take everything. You know? Basically, the Khorne Berserkers back then, it just said, select what you like from the melee weapons. So they could have literally anything. Literally any combination you liked.
I guess that makes sense, because why wouldn't they just pick up any kind of melee weapon that's on the field or whatever?
I suppose it does. I mean, like the fluff justification is that the chain axe and the chain sword are considered to be especially blessed by Khorne.
Oh,
There's something quite special about those weapons, particularly the axe. The axe is very Khornate indeed.
Oh yeah. There's something weird here that I think is worth pointing out. If you look at the picture of the two berserkers with chainswords and bolters.
The two with the like what?
Hang on, let me try and work this one out. How I'm going to explain this.
Which ones are we looking at?
So
the ones in red.
The red ones with the horns.
So one's looking forward and the other's looking off to the right. And what I'm going to point out here is, when's the last time you saw a chainsword get redesigned?
Oh, you mean the double-handed chainsword?
No. Because that's something we've seen before. But there's a chainsword, and it's a chainsword with a actual blade on the top. And the silhouette of it looks completely different.
I know the one. Yes, this is the one.
Oh, thank God.
Interesting, isn't it? I mean, it is fascinating. They tried to make all of the chain axes, the chain swords look individual, right?
Is that meant to be a chainsaw, though? Or is that just a big knife with a little jaggedy bit?
Is it?
You can see the teeth of the chainsword, yeah.
Well, I could see the teeth. I just didn't know if it was chainsawry or if it was just, like, jaggedy.
There is a similarly designed chainsword in the new Chaos Space Marine set.
Oh, okay. All right.
It is very much that. It is the Chaos chainsword design at the moment. But if you look, every single one of them is different, and all of the chain axes are different too.
I like the fact that they have patch meal armor. So you got Mark III armor shoulder pads. You got the Terminator Cataphracti armor shoulder pads as well. Is there Mark IV?
Some of them have got like bared arms and whatnot, like Khan does. It's really cool because, of course, I mean, one of the bits of background about the Khorne Berserkers is they just don't care about their equipment as such. They will sanctify it, they'll bless it with blood and bone meal and whatnot, but they won't try to repair it or anything like that. They only want it to be functional, and that's it. They don't care about how it looks or whether like the pieces match or whatever. And yeah, they're great.
There's a real sense to these guys that takes me back to 1993 or so.
Oh my god!
And I think it's the way they've painted them.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not that. Khorne kind of got like a dulled down red for a while there, didn't it? They're the World
It got like
Eaters.
a really dark red, didn't it? Like do you remember the paint scheme when the last set came out and it was really deep, dark red, almost like dried gore. It was like dried blood rather than fresh blood, right?
But they seem to have gone back to that orange highlights over the red over a really bright red.
It's almost it is very old school, isn't it? It's very sort of
very
1990s Khorne Berserkers, right?
Yeah, it is, and it really seems to make. I love that
cool.
scene.
And apparently, like the kit allows you to build them all with bared head, so you can see the butcher's nails, which is a lovely
that's neat.
detail. That's a lovely detail. I love the champion's helmet, the elaborate one with the Khorne symbol. That's very lovely, I've got to say. I'm not surprised because I think we've discussed this before, but you can see the influence of the Khorne Bloodbound from AOS.
Absolutely, you can. Yeah.
But I would not be surprised to see Khorne players like cross-pollinating the kits a lot, and I mean a lot.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what the layout of the kits are like.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
How much you can do.
They look dynamic, don't they? They look like you're going to be able to chop and change and swap things about quite easily.
I would imagine they'll be as complex as like the standard Space Marine kind of kit. So whatever the complexity of like how many bits they're into is probably going to be like that. But you should be fairly, like you say, easy to at least snip them because Space Marines have nice big shoulders and nice big thighs to cut through if you wanted to bit and bob them.
And these guys actually look like they're running rather than tripping over, which is nice.
I don't know. Do you not think some of them just look like they're doing like the step-up machines in like the gym?
I don't know whether it's like the positioning of the photographs, but some of them do a little bit, yes.
Or each of like the individual ones that have the leg up have stood on a piece of Lego at the time. It's not like pain. It's just come on now.
If they were Slaneshi Marines, they'd be stamping down on it more, wouldn't they?
Just rolling around on Lego.
Yeah.
Bricks for the brick god.
I like the fact as well, from the kit, you can sort of discern what differences they're going to have as a unit. Like, there's a lot of very specialist close combat weapons here, like the big chainsaw, the big double-handed chainsword is obviously going to be a specialist thing. The big double-handed chain axe is obviously going to be a specialist thing.
I would imagine you're going to get only like one of those per kit, right? So there's going to be one with the big double chain sword. So if you want to have multiple ones of them, you're going to have to buy quite a few of them. It's not going to have the versatility of the older kits, which I remember was an issue some people had with the orcs or some of the orcs because they wanted more than just two shooter boys in a pack. Obviously, this isn't as bad because it's like just berserkers. You get berserkers, so it's kind of what you expect. But
that's it.
Yeah,
a berserker is a berserker, isn't it? You know.
Yeah.
They're kind of standard in their layout, so it's not too much of an issue. But no, I mean,
it's like good in the carousel.
It's very exciting. I mean, again, not a Khorne player at all. But am I excited for this codex? Yeah. It's a god-specific codex. It's gonna be really cool. You know it is. The background, at least, is gonna be really cool because they always are. The two they've released thus far have been spectacular. I mean, the Thousand Suns and the Death Guard. I can't wait to see how they expand the background for the World Eaters. Because the Thousand Sons of the Death Guard, because they've been so prominent over the last 5 years now, they've had so much background thrown at them. They're so dynamic in the universe now. I mean, Magnus has literally changed the shape of the 40k universe, right? He's wrenched Sorciarius out of the warp and into the material universe. Yeah. So, and the World Eaters have been a bit recessed. You know, they've been around, but not really doing very much. You know, so seeing what they're doing now and how they're organizing, for want of a better, what Angron is doing in the universe now, that's going to be really cool.
Are we assuming, looking at the roadmap, that the Astral Militarum are going to come out first?
It looks that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The roadmap seems to suggest that. Yeah, Astra Militarium first, and then the world. I imagine the World Eaters are going to be the big Christmas release. That would
make sense. Does that mean? Do you think that the Astral Militarum they're not going to have the big refresh that they probably need and deserve?
What's weird is we keep hearing rumors that they're going to refresh.
That's the thing. But we've seen nothing for it, and they don't have that long to build a pipe for it.
No, it's true. It's true. Maybe they're just keeping it under wraps, and maybe it's going to be a big. But the rumors seem to suggest that it's going to be a big refresh. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're wrong. Maybe the rumors are just dead wrong. You know. But there are rules out there already, aren't there? There are like rule sets out for the Astra Militarum out there. I don't know. I honestly don't know. It's again, they're one of the more interesting ones because they need. I mean, we've got so many armies in Ninth Ed now that play in ways that are very like the Astra Militarum. So the Tau, the Eldari, the firepower armies, effectively. So how they distinguish the Astra Militaria from them?
Didn't we talk about the idea that they'd play almost like the Eldari and Tau, but with Necron elements as well, so you'd summon in units?
I think that's probably going to be it. So the human elements are going to be dead squishy, obviously, because they're human beings in coats, and they're going to be dead squishy. But I imagine they're almost going to be almost infinitely respawning, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what they're like. That's what the Astra Militarium is, right? It's a meat grinder. They just chuck bodies at the enemy and hope that it works, right? So maybe that's it. Maybe that's how it's going to work. I hope so, because that's how they're supposed to work.
It's going to be interesting to see. I'm hoping it's not just like a one kit refresh. I'm hoping it's
that
at least a few. Like minimum, I'd like it to be we could probably do without the vehicle refresh. I think they do deserve a refresh for all of their vehicles. But we could, I guess, you could do without them being done and focus on the humans, because the vehicles look old, but they look fine. They just look like a tank.
They look like a tank, right?
Yeah, it looks like a tank. But it's the humans, which will look worse.
The human kits really need updates. And we've seen suggestions of it already. I mean, what is it? Was it Kill Team that we had an Astra Militarium kit for recently?
We've had a few bits of Astro Militarium kind of bits for Kill Team here and there for a while now, I think, haven't we?
And that's normally the test bed, isn't it? That's where you see of what the miniatures are going to look like. And
should we jump into the Astra Militarum and Crute in Kill Team then?
Wasn't that a nice leadway? Segue. I know words.
There. Nice segue.
Yeah.
So, I mean, because you've got the Breachers here, who are very much Imperial looking, but like nothing we've ever seen before.
Yeah.
It harkens
back
back
great. Love them.
They are.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They're lovely things.
And we know that the stuff from that Kill Team box is getting released by itself. So it's not that hard to actually make a very good-looking Astra Militarium force without really having to do too much.
No, I mean, and one of the elements I think they might be doing, because we've had a lot of like the Imperial Navy stuff, haven't we, coming into Kill Team? I think they might be, that you might see elements of that in the new Astra Militaria book. That would be kind of cool.
So just seeing the big swinging D said, I'm going to have to do a platoon of Navy troopers. Let's be honest. Absolutely, because they are just gorgeous.
Yeah, they're very, very cool, aren't they?
I love the magnetic boots.
Yeah.
And again, squishy humans, they're really not my army at all. But God, are they good? Yeah, they're lovely. They're really, really lovely miniatures. So, and it's been a long time since the Astra Militari have had anything to speak of.
Yeah.
It's been literally, we're knocking a decade before anything
The only
anything
things I can think of are just random characters, and then like what was it, two years ago something? We had that really basic upgrade kit for the troopers, which had the female heads in, and that was about it.
Yes, that's right. That's right. That was ages ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So like, and that wasn't that significant, was it?
No,
was
it
just-
literally only gave them like a female head and a few other new heads, and that was, I think, maybe some weapon options. But again, it didn't help the figures for the most part, the models
they
itself.
I mean, the Astra Militaria really has needed a wholesale
Yeah,
rejigging for a long time because it's never really represented what the actual army is like in the background. Like, for one thing, the Militaria is it's like all sexes for one thing because the Imperium doesn't give a shit. A human being is a human being and is a body to be chucked at the enemy, right? So there should at least be an equal mix of men and women in it. There's also like the differing backgrounds that these people come from, the different worlds that they're derived from, and the different cultures and whatnot that they bring, the different regiments that are out there.
I don't mind that as much, just because I think it might fall into the issue of the cities of Sigmar. Like, it'd be nice to have like a few different elements in here and there just to not homogenize the entire army. But I think it's going to be very difficult to have it too crazy. Like, you can go for like specialist ones like the Death Corps of Creed and stuff like that.
Like second ed.
You can only go so far before like it gets too expansive. Like, how expansive do you make the cultures for the Imperial Guard? It can go too far.
I mean,
so I guess I guess it's a military organization. So at a point you need to have some kind of founding moral design, not moral, but just founding design to kind of pull them all together. But then your special characters you could do whatever with, or like your specialized units, like your jungle, not Arnold Schwarzenegger guys. Those guys, they could be cool and different.
Not Predator guys.
Not Predator guys, no.
But very much Predator guys.
But we did get Carl Not Weathers, so
yes, we did. Yeah. Oh god,
All right. Here's how I would sort this out. What you do is you duel the kits. So Death Corps of Krieg, what do we know about them? They've got big leather trench coat type things. So then you release a Praetorian headset. You put the Praetorian heads on. You've got yourself. All you have to do is paint them in the right colors. You've got yourself Praetorians. They're two very different looking armies, but using the same base idea.
That's it. That's the way you do it. You just introduce little elements to the kits that allow you to customize them, and then you can do what you like with them.
Are you going through the Horus Heresy kind of torso and shoulder pads idea?
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, I think that would work really rather well.
Yeah, that could be okay, yeah.
I think that's the only way you could really do it. You know, you have like maybe 3 main kits, but then you create upgrades where you can turn them into one of, I don't know, 4 of the units or 4 of the worlds. I think it's difficult because you're absolutely right, Andy. You've got
it's the
thousands and thousands and thousands of different styles and looks and worlds that you can draw from, and they don't all look the same. That's why they went Cadian for the Imperial Guard for so long, because it is a unified look.
Yeah.
I think if you do what they do, like you said, Gruff, you do what you do with the Space Marines for Horus Heresy, it's a good way to tweak the nipples of like the customer and milk them. So you have your basic kit and then you upgrade them, but it costs more money if you want to upgrade them. I think it's a good business call as well. I guess it just boils down to because Space Marines are bigger, there's a bigger model to work with. Can you do that with a much more slender model of a human? That'd be interesting to see. I'd be into for that, but you know.
As I say, I think a couple of weapons and mostly heads, and I think you'd be fine.
You'd hope so.
Yeah, because I mean, most of them are sort of swathed either in armor or in coats or uniforms, aren't they? So it's quite easy to make those torsos and leg pieces adaptable, right?
You'd think so, yeah. If the more adaptable you make it, you lose out on the dynamic nature that they've been aiming for over the years. I don't know.
It's tricky. It's a balance, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard.
That's the trick. It's the
Are these the business decisions they talk about in the studio? Are we having a Games Workshop discussion?
Are we having that conversation? Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a tricky one, isn't it? It is. Yeah. The Astra Militaria, bizarrely, are one of the hardest armies to realize, aren't they?
Because they're probably the biggest in terms of like galactic scale.
And also, they're the one that derives from history, right? They are the most historical of the armies out there. They're often the gateway for like old historical wargamers into 40k. Yeah?
That's a good point. I suppose you can't go too far from that because you need to keep that doorway open for that kind of gamer.
It's very, very tricky to realize.
Yeah, there's a balance act there that is almost impossible to keep.
Yeah, either going to have to go hard one way or keep it the way it is, I guess. Yeah. Good luck, GW. I'm glad I'm not a businessman.
It's a difficult one. It is really, really hard. And they've tried many times. They've tried many times to reinvent the Astra Militario in different ways. And sometimes it's worked and sometimes it hasn't. I mean, they had their heyday in 4th Ed when they had that amazing codex that was just blowing everyone off the battlefield. And then they took a nosedive hard. They took a nosedive, like, really hard. And they've never recovered from it. Like, not ever.
I have an idea how you fix the Imperial Guard, right? Send them all into the Soul Forge. Boom. Clap them in living metal. We're done. No problems.
So you get Imperial Necrons.
They're just Necrons. I've always wondered why the Necrons have never taken human slaves and turned them into Necrons for experimentation to see if you could turn them back. That's
so
right.
Funny you
yeah.
It's so funny you should mention that.
Was it the Praetorians they were called?
They were called the Pariahs.
That's pariahs. That's right. Yes.
It's from their background. You know the whole notion of the pariah gene, the gene that the Kulexus has, the Kulexus assassin.
Yeah.
That's what it was derived from. The whole background for the pariahs was that they were human beings with the pariah gene that had gone through the Necron process.
The only reason I know about that is because it was in Dawn of War.
Yeah, I mean,
Dark Crusade.
They're gone.
They got replaced a long time ago.
Background now, they're like gone.
It's something that I think the Necrons should dip into because they want to go back to being humans. So take humans, make them Necrons, and then experiment on them. If it doesn't work, who cares?
It hasn't been done.
Yeah,
I mean, like, as you say, I'm surprised. It has been done, but it hasn't been kept as part of their background.
Especially by some of the Necrons who just don't care. You know, there are a lot of scientists who just don't care. It's like, why not?
You'd think that Trazyn wouldn't be that bothered. You'd think that...
I don't think Trazyn would do it. Trazyn would just put them in a bottle. I don't need to play around with them. I just want to make them look cool in my museum.
Zeras, absolutely.
Zeras definitely would do that, yeah.
Definitely would, because he's the Fabius of the bunch.
Oh, yeah.
I've just thought how to make Imperial Guard look really good.
Is it by cut their legs off and then add giant mustaches and big hats to them?
Say, has this got anything to do with them wearing really big hats, having really short legs, and very big beards?
Okay.
No.
I don't believe you, but okay.
It was literally just throw in a load of Necromunda units.
Yeah.
You run an entire army that is based around, I don't know, House Goliath. You paint them in like jungle colors. Jungle fighter colors, I should say, and then you have yourself a very, very interesting look Imperial Guard army.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea for a codex. I don't think that's a good idea for the Imperial Guard because they'd look too ragtag. That would be like a codex Hive City Emergence or something like that, or Hive City Rebellion.
I mean, you use just the one house to make.
I thought you meant just use all of the different kinds of houses as one army.
No,
throw them out.
That'd be way too.
Yeah.
So you have like just a ton of House Goliath guys, or a ton of.
Okay.
Or what's it, Cawdor? Just a load of House Cawdor, because that would look really good.
The more kind of normalish looking ones that look like they could be part of an army rather than some of the weirder ones.
Probably wouldn't work. Delac, maybe.
If you ran Escher as like the Jungle Force, I can't remember what they're called. If you ran them as the Jungle Force, I'd buy that. They look like they could be like jungle ladies. Sure, I'm down with that.
Yeah. Okay. Cawdor, you could just that did look
the vampire-looking dudes. I don't know. I don't know what they could do.
Delac, well, they're just
they just have sex with the dead bodies.
Yeah.
Oh, that too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, one or the other.
Which is the ones that have like the hyper technology on Necromunda? Is that Orlok?
Yeah, the ones that look really good for like modding into like Necrons and stuff. Yeah, they'd be good.
They're too alien, aren't they?
That's probably the problem.
Into the Imperial Guard.
They'd get on the battlefield and be shot by a commissar.
I was going to say the commissar would be what?
Yeah.
That in this army?
Oh, mate, come on now. Get out of here.
Sharpo in the chat says use Necromunda miniatures to do penal colony.
Yeah.
Penal troopers. Legion.
Yeah,
perfect. Brilliant. Absolutely, goddamn perfect. That would look so good.
because it fits into like the dystopian element of the Imperium too. You know, that really works very, very well.
Penal.
Yeah,
right.
it makes them interesting, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It lends that just extra layer of intrigue.
Shall we move on to the last story, and then we've got one thing to do, and then we shall close up for the night?
Yay!
This is only a short story. So Custody is back in October. It is going to be back for good. Stay on the shelves. Thank God.
Fantastic. Because it's
Weird bit of news, though. We're getting an upgrade for it, an expansion with no miniatures.
What's this about?
Yeah.
Well, obviously, when they didn't know if they were going to get Curse City back out, they had some miniatures that were going to be released. Because if you remember, the Rat Prince was actually released on the Curse City website page way back when. And obviously that didn't happen, that didn't come out. So they released Rodica and the other vampires by themselves in the vampire book.
Yeah,
and now they've found a way to get it out. Getting this out, so you have to buy the miniatures separately.
Yeah. It's going to be a little... Like, how much are we assuming this is... Because I think the kindest, which I don't think is going to happen, the kindest they could release it at is like 20 quid. And I don't think it's coming... This box set's coming out at 20 quid.
No.
Because the...
I don't think...
Let's go through. The Vampire Lord, which is this one here, is 19... I'll just go for GW prices, right? £19. Rat Prince is £21. Rat Prince and Lady with the little mask here is £21 as well. So that's 40, 42...
That's 60 quid.
Yeah, 60 quid plus 30 quid? Probably? Minimum?
Yeah,
20,
so...
30? Oof.
Yeah.
Woof.
So there's nothing... The box itself
A lot.
has nothing but counters and cards and new floor places and stuff in it. And a book, obviously.
Yeah.
Sure,
Okay.
yeah.
Fair enough. It's got the rules in and stuff. So the box I can imagine being 20 quid. Fine. Yeah, okay. What annoys me is that it should be a £60 box with miniatures in it.
Something.
Yeah.
Not a £20 box with no miniatures in that you now have to buy the miniatures separately. There's something about that which is really not working for...
What if you had two versions? So you had the £60 version, which has the miniatures in, and then you have a £20 version for the people that already have the minis.
Already have them, yeah. That makes sense.
So
Granted, the people who would already have those minis, they'd be pissed, rightly so.
Yes.
But it's not then like £100 for a very small upgrade set for the people that want it.
Okay, so what you need is a set of Felbats and Radica the
be fun.
Beast.
Oh, who's a big expensive.
Oh, that's a big one. Yeah.
He's a big one.
And that's just a start. You then need the other three to continue.
Yeah.
Now, you could probably get it. Well, I mean, obviously, the miniatures and you can play games however you like, so there's absolutely nothing stopping you from using the miniatures you've already got or converting. Absolutely not. That's never going to be an issue because these are physical miniatures and converting has always been part of the hobby, as far as I'm concerned.
Sure.
Fine. Absolutely fine. But it just feels a little bit off. And I think I understand it because Curse City has been fucking cursed from day one.
That's from inception, right?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely it has. I'm not going to argue that point. It has been an absolute mess.
It's a shame, isn't it? Because it feels like it could have been a roaring success, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, it seems to have been a success despite itself.
Yeah, people want it, don't they? People are clamoring for it.
Are we scared that if this doesn't do well, they might just go no more updates? Or do you think they'll do at least one more like legitimate update that we would have had? Because this doesn't feel like... This feels like a piecemeal that, like you said, if those miniatures had been burned here, this would have been a decent upgrade, so it would have been kind of cool. Do you think we'll get like a proper upgrade set or expansion in the future? And if that doesn't do well, that'll be it? Or do you think if this does poorly, done, no more? What do you think?
I think there's probably another one in the fire. Right?
Sure.
Yeah.
I would hope so, yeah.
I would say, because The problem here is that obviously this stuff all got released out of whack. The game
Yes.
was meant to be out, it fell apart because of all sorts of things working against it. It just did. Let's be honest here. It was no fault of anyone. It just came out at exactly the wrong point and got absolutely bollocked by everything in the world. As a result, they got the miniatures that were already out. Because obviously at that time, they probably thought they weren't going to get it out. People were crying for it so much that they managed to find a way to get it out again. Brilliant. I'm really glad. They did it through made to order, and now they've got it out on the shelves in October. Excellent. Well done. That can't have been easy to do. Let's, give credit where credit's due here. Completely and utterly getting this thing back out and republished, that can't have been easy.
No,
especially
agreed.
given what was going on at the time,
Yeah.
the pressures that they've been acting against from outside.
Yeah, because, what we're seeing now, this has come out in October. That work that needed to be done to make this come out in October, that would have started well over a year ago. That's how long these things take. It's not you can send some messages off to somebody in a factory and say, can we print out another 5,000 of these? Because the factory is going to have a list of jobs it needs to get done and a date to get them done by. It's then got to slot that in at the end, because that's the way the factories work. So this has been well over a year ago. So 18 months ago, they obviously thought, we're not going to be able to get this out, and that's why they released this stuff out with the Soul Blight. Maybe it was meant to be released as well, I don't know. But it means that what we have here is this weird half-release that feels very, very strange, and it doesn't feel complete, because there's nothing in it. There's no miniatures in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still think it looks good, but if it's more than 20 quid, it's going to fail big time.
Yeah, because people just aren't going to buy it,
And
are they? They're just not going to buy it.
No.
And I don't feel confident in saying that it will be 20 quid. Knowing GW and how pricing tends to go for these, it feels like it's going to be 30 to 40.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be. 20 is the max it should be, but it's not.
And also, contextually, given everything that's actually happening in the world at the moment as well, people are they're just not gonna want to spend that much on this, are they?
Yeah.
On cards, yeah.
Yeah.
It's very old school in that regard, isn't it? I mean, this is the kind of release that you used to get way back in the day. Do you remember, like, for the board games and the expansion games, you used to get a lot of sets that were just cards and counters and whatnot.
I mean, the old Dungeons and Dragons stuff, yeah, very much so, and a lot of the everything up to about the mid-90s, I'd say, yeah, you did get expansions with just cards, but then of course you get Hero Quest that just absolutely throws that out the water, and all the other stuff that came out with it, Battle Masters and Space Crusade, and you ended up having to have a more expensive expansion. But even there, I mean, but the expansions for Space Crusade were 20 quid each, which back in 1994 was a bit more expensive than it is now. But it's weird in modern day to have a completely card-based release.
It is a very strange thing, isn't it? For present-day Games Workshop, it's an odd thing, because the miniatures are what drive the sales, aren't they, always?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, it's a strange one.
And it's hard to get an expansion set and have a board game where you do have the miniatures and buy this upgrades, and if you don't have the miniatures, be like, oh, well, I'll just use the card counters for them. Who's going to do that?
Yeah, who really
no one's going to be happy. It's like, oh, I've got like my Rat Prince here and he's a bit of card compared to anything else, even a zombie. A zombie's a real physical entity rather than a counter. It's very different. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's rough.
It is. It's odd. It's really odd. But anyhow, right. So we're going to finish off now on a couple of things. Number one. The 24th of September, we're having a Fluff and Meet. If you're on a Facebook group or in the Discord, come along, join us. There will be Zoom links put out on the day. We're going to do a couple of things. I think me and Andy are going to be taking each other on Talisman.
Oh, God.
I think that was
fabulous.
Was a plan that we discussed at one point.
Ah.
Some knockdown Talisman goodness.
No frogs. No turning me into a goddamn fucking frog.
I make no promises. I think it should be a three-way battle between the three of us. I think the three of us should go Talisman on Steam and just...
I can't
wreck the
believe
shit out of
how
each
many
other.
DLC things that game has at this point. It has so many bits of DLC download, DLC stuff. It's nuts.
If I had like a lottery win, I would buy all of those bits and we would play a game with all expansions. So yeah, that's a thing that's happening. We should enjoy that. I'm gonna also run a pub quiz, and it's just gonna be a lot of fun. So about 1 o'clock till maybe 11 o'clock at night, we're just going to all meet up on Zoom and just chat. If people want to go and have a RPG game, I think there's a couple of people who want to run some one-shot RPGs. If people want to come along and set up a tabletop simulator game and get some people involved in that, more than welcome to. The entire idea is just for the community around the FLuffenhammer just to get together and have a bit of a good time online.
It's a nice idea. It's a really nice idea.
Well, I keep wanting to try and do stuff in the flesh, but then the world keeps doing stuff to stop me.
I mean that is the ideal, isn't it? Going to Nottingham, right, to Warhammer World and meeting up and maybe having some games. Whoa, that'd be grand, you know.
Oh, it would be absolutely brilliant, but with stuff like Train,
1,000 Sons, my 1,000 Sons. It's gonna happen.
who will
Andy.
win?
We're gonna have a game.
Both of your 1,000 Sons versus all of my dwarfs.
That'd be grand, yeah. That'd be fabulous.
I mean, I'd have to play you digitally, but, you know, I'd be there in spirit.
What else am I going to say? Patreon. So the Patreon, you can find us at patreon.com/Fluffenhammer. We have got the Fluffen Nation coming out each month where I grab somebody, make them talk to me, and usually they leave a worse person than they were when they first started.
Oh my god.
This month is split into two parts. The first part is already out, and the second part will be a Q&A session, and we're going to just be answering questions. Or I'm going to be answering questions. Hopefully there'll be somebody with me. We'll see. And then what after that? The next Fluffen Nation that will be coming out will be Ash from the Under Consultation podcast, because he's a fascinating man and I wish to shake him violently. What else do I need to tell you all? Next year, after Christmas, we're going to be starting up a little competition, a little get-together, if you so wish. And it's going to be to make a fourth stroke fifth ed Warhammer Fantasy Battle Army using anything you can get your hands on.
Oh, wow.
And that's going to be a lot of fun to do. I'm going Chaos Dwarfs.
What?
Fucking glutton for punishment.
That's not true. You hate the Chaos Dwarves.
Yeah.
What?
I just like to make myself pained.
You just want to do more clan rats, really.
Yeah.
I'm almost
Which is really
tempted
interesting.
to go for like one of the armies I really hate from that era, a fantasy battle.
Well, wood elves.
or
Yeah, I was
something.
going to say, yeah.
But do them with the present day miniatures, the Sylvaneth. That'd be kind of fun. That'd be fun.
Yeah. That would be a really interesting
Proxy them a little
challenge
bit.
for yourself, yeah.
Get myself some old undead. The old silly skeleton boys.
Really old ones, like the metal whites and whatnot. That
And
brilliant miniature of Arkan on the chariot.
Oh yeah, he was fun.
Oh jeez.
The vampire
that?
dude on
Nothing
the
to do.
Griffin, the Chimera Griffin-y thingamabob.
Yeah,
That dude.
Dieter Hellschnitt.
Dieter
Yeah.
Hellschnitt.
Oh my god, yeah.
Get myself
Fabulous.
a shitty Herman Ghost who's always crap and who's never been good, and he's never had good lore. No one likes him because he's shit. Tell me I'm wrong. Someone tell me that Herman Ghost is cool. No one does. No one can.
I'm trying to get Von Horstman and Titus Groan mixed up in the same name there. Horstman Groan. Right, and so we're going to finish off now with something I like to call the 90-second dungeon. George and Andy, do you have your characters?
Yeah.
Sort of. My gnome lich.
Mm-hmm. So you have 4 numbers.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. First one will be strength.
Okay.
Okay. Oh no.
Second one will be intelligence.
Okay.
Oh no. Oh, this is bad.
Third one will be toughness.
That's not too bad.
And fourth one will be... I have lost my piece of paper that tells me. Movement.
Okay.
Okay. You got it for your characters. Doesn't matter if you don't.
I'm just saying that's you know, I did okay for my rolls.
Okay.
Did fine.
So, doesn't matter if you've got names or not, because we're now about to enter the 90-second dungeon. You fall into a dungeon. You meet each other for the first time, stare into each other's eyes, wondering what the other person is doing there, when suddenly a feral warhog runs up towards you through the passageways of the tunnel you have fallen into. It's grunting. It's angry. What do you do? Go.
I'm a lich. I blast it with magic. It
I'm
doesn't
okay,
even
you
get
need to-
close to me. It falls apart. It crumbles to dust.
You need to roll your intelligence.
Oh, on
You've got to roll above your intelligence.
On what
what
kind of
die?
dice?
Oh, sorry, on a D20.
above my intelligence. Oh, it's freaking easy.
That's because we were rolling on d6s
My-
for our stats.
my-
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
on a D6, sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
My
yeah.
intelligence is 3 and I got a 16. It's like, what?
Sorry, no, I meant on a D6.
Oh, I just got it. Just.
Okay, it crumbles to pieces in front of your very eyes. Then suddenly the ground starts to shake. Andy, what do you do? The ground is shaking. Snakes are starting to rise from the cracks.
I throw George at it.
I'm fine. I'm a
Roll
lich.
strength.
I'm undead.
All right.
It's like
I roll a 3. My strength was
No.
4.
Oh, you see, you failed. You've grabbed hold of him, realised that there is very little to grab hold of because he's actually wearing stilts, and everyone falls over. We'll see you next time for the 90-second dungeon. And with that, Andy, tell me people can find you.
People can find me on this channel, on Twitch, the Decayed Andy channel. We're on YouTube as well, streaming there as well as Decayed Andy. I'm on Twitter, shockingly, as Decayed Andy. We usually stream video games. We're doing Tokyo Ghostwire at the moment, or Ghostwire Tokyo. We've got another game that I need to pick out for the stream, but I don't know what it'll be. It'll be something fun, I'm sure. And apart from that, I'm on the Moonbase 2 podcast, which we're recording tomorrow, live on both of these two channels, where me and Jason will be talking about Transformers. We're also on Libsyn, iTunes, Facebook, all those good places as Moonbase 2 Transformers podcast.
fabulous.
Excellent.
Can I personally
Now we move-
recommend Andy's playthroughs of the FromSoft games?
Oh, thank you.
Because they're very, 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 very good indeed.
You're nearly done with yours,
See
aren't
the
you?
bottom-
Say again?
You're nearly done with your playthrough of Elden
I'm
Ring.
getting there.
Nearly.
Yeah. Some God knows how many hundreds of hours later, yes, I am getting there. I'm nearly done.
I can't remember. Did you get to the roots, the big tree
No.
roots?
I'm still in crumbling Frusa bulk at the moment.
Okay, because that's one
I
of
know
the,
it's
the
not
weird,
called
slightly
that, but-
hidden-y kind of areas which you might need to look for.
Oh, okay.
But there's lots of ants down there, a lot of tree roots, so you'll know if you've been in there.
Oh, okay. No, I don't think I've been there.
You might need to take a few coffins to get there, because it's like one of those things where you jump in a coffin and it takes you to a place.
Oh, okay. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
There's another boss down there, that's why I mentioned it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's got to be done then. It's got to
Yeah.
be done.
You need to be careful, because there is an ending which you could turn on by accident.
Oh.
You beat the boss and you could talk to a character and it might end the game, so you need to not talk to her.
Oh.
Fight
Oh,
the boss
hang
and then
on,
leave her.
Hang on. I think I have been down there. It's the one where you fight the big dragon, right?
That's her, yeah.
Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah.
I've done that.
Okay, that's fine. I wasn't sure if you'd done that one or not. Then
No,
you're
I've
good.
done that. That was one of my favourite quests, actually. It was bloody brilliant.
Yeah.
I was a bit shocked. I was a bit shocked. I was like, oh, no, there's a dragon, and I wasn't prepared. Shit.
Quite a
Anyone
few.
really be prepared for a dragon?
Not in
Not in
Elden
this
Ring.
game.
They come out of everywhere.
They
Jesus. Some of
do,
them just
don't
fly
they?
the
They
sky.
just sort of like materialise
Yeah.
like out of nowhere.
George, where can people find you if they so wish to hunt you with spears?
Same as usual, guys. You can find links to all of my published work over at strangeplaygrounds.com. Most recently had a short story published in the collection The Book of Queer Saints, which is up for a couple of awards now, potentially.
Hey.
We're on the ballot. We learned recently we're being discussed to go on the ballot for the Bram Stoker Awards.
Ooh.
If
Oh,
we
wow.
get that, that's one of the biggest rewards in horror. If we can get on that ballot, that is friggin' amazing. So fingers crossed. Yeah, you can find my most recently published short story collections, The Books of Blood volumes 1 and 2, no, the book Born in Blood, sorry, The Books of Blood of Clive Barker, Born in Blood volumes 1 and 2 over at Perpetual Motion Machine Publications. Apart from that, you can find a lot of my articles and essays and whatnot about all things horror and genre related at gingernutsofhorror.com and in the periodical Dark Moon Digest. You can come and watch me play Elden Ring and various other bits and pieces over at Exaggerated Elegy, and we're also doing quite a lot of podcasty series at the moment over there. And you can also come and chat to me at Enigmatic Elegy on Twitter.
Excellent stuff. As for myself, you can find me here. Bye. You can also find me at Twitter at Grufflock. You can find me on Facebook if you so wish. My Facebook feed is not the most interesting thing in the world, I'm afraid, as I'm slowly but surely coming away from Facebook more and more, I think, apart from the groups I'm part of. You can find my artwork at adnickel.weebly.com. You can find this show and all the articles that we create at thefluffenhammer.com. You can find us on YouTube, but just come to the website and look at everything through that, because that's the little massive places that you can go to where all of my ideas are birthed. I want to try and do something about Chapter X over the weekend, and if nobody remembers what I'm talking about, you'll be surprised at what I've got. What else can I say? Find us on Patreon, fluffenhammer.com/Patreon/Fluffenhammer/Fluffy Patreon. I don't know what it is. Patreon.com/the Come and join us. There's plenty of stuff there to keep you busy for the rest of your natural life and possibly into your unnatural one too.
Yay.
Outside of that, follow these two because they do stuff I really do nowadays. And yeah. Come join us. It's good. Fluffs. Be a fluffer. Go on, be a fluffer. You know you want to. Be a fluffer. And with all that being said, we're going to say bye-bye now. Bye-bye now.
Bye, guys.
Did you want me to end the stream?
I mean, that's entirely up to you. I mean,
Okay.
Thanks for listening along with us,
Yeah.
by the way, guys. It was a blast. Thank you, guys. Great fun.
It has been very lovely.
Did it run okay? Did things go okay stream-wise? Was that fine? Hopefully the people enjoyed the stuff. I tried to get as many pictures in as possible. I was desperately grabbing and throwing them over onto the screen, being like, shit, come on. Then by the time I found an image that you were talking about, you moved on to something else, and to myself went, fuck.
I think it went really well, Andy. I think it went really, really well.
Oh, that's okay then, good.
People seem to like it. Guys are all saying that they enjoyed it. So
that's good. Oh, you don't need to see me. There we go. We're rendering a file. Yay.
Thanks, Andy. Brilliant. Just to end the stream on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with that, I'm going to say goodnight to everyone.
Yeah.
Likewise, I think I'm going to skedaddle as well. Bye-bye, guys. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye, everybody.
See you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.
Yeah.